Okay, it takes a minute normally to kick you in. I look really short, but it's because I'm leaning sideways. I'm not this short. I swear. Oh, peace and blessings. Boy, it's been anything but for the last hour. But that's okay because it's my world now. Let me get my hair up. YouTube had me blocked from going into my own created live stream. Look, I had my hair down all pretty. Now it's already up on the top of my head. YouTube decided it didn't want to let me into my own live stream. So we had to go and create a secondary live stream. So me and YouTube are not happy with each other right now. But that's okay because we're here now. And I'm leaning over here and look like a small person. Hey, I look small for once.
I'm trying to squish down.
Wow. Okay, so we're going to get this started. Let everybody kind of filter in. And we're going to get this started with the Bible, y'all. So as everybody filters in and figures out that YouTube gave us the old shaft for a minute, we're going to get some peace of mind back, and we're going to start.
Hi, Gypsy.
Hi, Gypsy. We're going to get some peace of mind back, and we're going to start with some biblical scripture. So let's get that going. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let her rip.
When I teach classes, which way? Let's see. The camera's over here.
Okay. Well, I just kind of watch me because I'm gorgeous.
That's what it says on your earrings. What do your earrings say?
My earrings say love wins.
Amen. All right. Ephesians 6 is what I'm going to be praying. So those of you who read along in your Bible, I read in Latin. You don't have to, but if you read through Ephesians 6 while I'm praying, that's all I'm doing. I'm just reading it word for word, the Lord's word back to him. And when I teach my classes, I try to start with Ephesians 6 to the whole room. So here we go. Filii obedite parentibus vestri in domino hoc enim justum est. Honora patrum tuum et materem tuam quod est mandatum primum in promissione, ut bene sit tibi et sis longevus super terram. Et vos patres nolite ad iracundiam provocare filios vestros, sed educate illos in disciplina et corruptione Domini. Servi obedite Domini carnalibus cum timore et tremore in simplicitate cordi vestri sicu Christo. Non ad oculum servientes quasi hominibus placentes, sed ut servi Christi facientes voluntatem Dei ex animo, cum bona voluntate servientes sicut Domino et non hominibus sientes quoniam unusquisque quocumque. Fecerit bonum hoc recipiet ad Domino, sive servus, sive liber. Et vos, Domini, iedem facite illis remitentes miniscientes, quia et alorum et vester Dominus est in celis, et personarum acceptio non est apud eum, de cetero fratres confortamini in Domino et impotentia virtutis eius, induite vos armaturam Dei ut possitis stare adversus insidias diaboli, quoniam non est nobis collectatio adversus carnem et sanguinem, sed adversus principes et potestates, adversus mundi rectores tenebrarum harum contra spiritali iniquitiae in celis debus. Propteria cipite armaturam Dei ut possitis resistere in die malo et in omnibus perfecti stare, state ergo succinctilum vos vestros in veritate et in duti loricam justitiae, et calciati pedes in preparatione evangelii pacis. In omnibus sumentes scutum fidei in quo possitis omnia telemiquissimi ignia extinguere. Et galliam salutis assumite, gladium spiritus quod est verbum Dei, per omnem rationem et obsec, rationem orantes omni tempore. Tempore in spiritu, et in ipso vigilantes in omni instantia, et obsec ratione pro omnibus sanctis, et pro me uditore mihi sermone pertione otis mei cum fiducia notum facere, mysterium evangelii. Pro quo legatione fungerictina it ut in ipso audiam pro ut apportat me loqui. Ut autem et vosiatis quae circa me sunt, quid agam omnia vobis nota faciet ticicus, carissimus frater et fidelis minister in Domino. Quem mesi et vos in hoc ipsum cognoscatis, quae circa nos sunt, et consolatur corda vestra. Pax fratribus et caritas cum fidei Deo Patre et Domino Iesu Christo. Gratia cum omnibus, qui dilicunt Dominum nostrum, Iesum Christum in incorruptione. Gratias Deo. Amen.
Everybody enjoyed it there. Now I'm going to give a quick little thing to my mods. So what's going on is we're having a interview. I'm doing an interview with Miss Sabrina Wallace, who is one of the smartest individuals. Oh, I can't stand the glare. Sorry. One of the smartest individuals that is understanding what is being used all around us to take away one simple thing that we should own fully. Is that a good way to say that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one thing to my mods. Anyone that wants to discuss stuff, they can discuss it. If they have a different religious perspective, that's okay. If they say something that you don't agree with, that's okay. The only people that are to be blocked or kicked out or timed out are people that are rude or using abusive or unnecessary language. Because we're here to discuss, and we're going to discuss things that you all may not agree with personally, but we need to talk about them all together. We all have to learn how to tolerate each other.
Amen.
So we're not just kicking people out because they're asking questions you may not like or they're talking about things you may not enjoy. We're actually going to discuss. The only thing is bad language or absolute, complete rude or a bot. So y'all, when we get the bots, the troll traffic is, it's good here. So we're going to be doing that, and I apologize for the live. We had the live set up. It was for Central Standard Time, and so I was trying to get in early, but then YouTube will not even let me in when it was supposed to start. So, we just have to wing it, and that's what we do around here. We wing it. So it's going to be one of those days. But I just wanted to explain to my mods, we're going to have a lot of people in here with a lot of different ideologies and belief systems, and I don't want those challenged today. What I want challenged today is science and things that we can prove. Yeah, what I want challenged today is science. It's been around for a long time.
Ooh,
and things that we can prove and talk about. And so I don't want anyone attacked for, don't spit them out just for having a different opinion. So we've got lots of facts going on today. So I'm not going to be able to keep up with a whole lot of the chat all the time. I will try to do what I can. But the first thing I want to do is my sub base is not as familiar with Sabrina, because Sabrina is not a YouTube personality. And I look so little sitting back here, but Sabrina is not a YouTube personality. She is on the Odyssey platform. Every time that I've told you to go to the Synergy channel on Odyssey, this is the lady I've been trying to send you to, because she's super smart and has a very different perspective than most people and holds a lot more information than most people. So this is the one I've been trying to make y'all listen to for a few years now, almost.
Mm-hmm.
A while. Yeah, a while. And we've become very close. But what we want to do today is to introduce her to you all and get a few points across that are the most important things we want to share. And I want to also express that anything we talk about here is just our opinions and viewpoints. We are not medical physicians, although I was counseling at one time in billing insurance. But I'm not doing that anymore. This is just our opinions. So anything we tell you, you should research, you should question, you should research. You should go digging for your own information. If you question something, then please go and tell us. And if you find something else, we're open to hear it. We're absolutely open to hear it. But we want to make sure that you understand we don't represent YouTube. I'm only using this platform because it's user-friendly, and this is where I've been for 3 or 4 years. Almost 4 years. Gosh, almost 4 years. Mm-hmm. I do funny content, but I also do very serious, roll your britches up, we're going to wade in and talk about stuff, content. So this is going to be one of those. It's going to be a serious conversation. And we're going to talk about stuff that may make you uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable and you become defensive, you're going to leave this chat. If you're uncomfortable and you become curious, we're going to hang on to you, and we're going to keep you here.
Be curious, not furious. We're going to say some things, both of us, that are going to challenge your sacred cows called belief systems. And when we invest in belief systems, sometimes that can put us in the mud puddle and keep us there. So I want to introduce people to critical thought again. You are smarter than you realize, but we've been gaslit. A lot of people have, lots of different ways. So that's why critical thought, do your own reading, and engage when it comes to, hey, I really don't believe that, but it seems like these people do. Why? Instead of dismissive, diminutive, or mitigation, as far as I'm not even listening. Yes. open up, be curious, not furious, and go, why do you think that? Like,
Yeah,
what-
you're different than me, but
why?
that's not always a negative.
Right.
Put a wrinkle in your brain, not a nasty comment in the section down below. That's what I always say. Knowledge is power. Now, a lot of you all may not know me. So I'm going to turn Sabrina loose in a minute. So if you don't know me, I am a retired youth counselor for juvenile offenders. I worked at wilderness boot camps. I was injured, started a lot of surgeries, and ended up with a neuromuscular disorder. But while I was struggling through all that and dealing with that before I got diagnosed, I also supervised for the Department of Corrections, did forensic psychology, taught cognitive behavioral therapy. I have 3 degrees. I have my master's in psychology. And I work with people that have trauma, that have addiction issues. I've done every level of counseling out there. There's not anything I've really not waded right into. And my most successful was group adolescent trauma and addiction. But I have supervised murderers and supervised sex offenders. I have seen the worst of the worst in people and the best of the best. And I've seen people completely turn their lives around. So I believe that there's a power beyond us that we all have to recognize and understand personally. And I don't believe that someone else can dictate your relationship with that power that you find in your life. And they can call it what they want to, but I think all the tributaries lead to the same river. So that's kind of how I came to be. My daddy was a Baptist preacher. I was brought up on straight and narrow. He was a blacksmith and a Baptist preacher. You don't want to whoop him from a blacksmith and a Baptist preacher. He's a strong man. And my mother was a educator. She was a teacher for 21 years. So I was either with my mother in lecture classes or in the barn wreaking havoc.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a very well-rounded person. But I like to go and find the people that society has cast aside and make them shine. Because I love when the underdog wins.
And it is my opinion that when it comes to the world we live in now, I'm almost 45, I have found some of the best people. They work in corrections, they work with the juveniles, they work with addiction recovery. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, that is where Jesus would be right now today. He would be out there talking to the people looking for him, the ones that are already enduring, and they have retained their hope. And hopefully, I have to throw this in here. No lying. Stop lying. No lying.
That would be nice. That would like cure all of society's ills if we could do that. That's a remedy for all ills right there. Okay, so now for my creed. This is Miss Sabrina Wallace. Are you getting messed up with that chat bead on your face?
I am. It's hard to see. Okay.
Well, there we go. Hi. Now see.
Hi.
Is that better?
I still can't do it quite right.
I'm trying. You have to screw in the bow. Okay, screw in the bow. Screw in the bow. Screw in the bow.
Oh.
Yeah, screw in the bow. Screw in the bow. Okay, so we learn things. We learn things at our own rate. See, not there. I have had a great couple of days prepping for this. We are not super rehearsed. We know what we're going to talk about, but we also want to be open for the moment to take over and tell us where to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I want from my group, I want to turn it over to Sabrina and let her tell you a little bit about her life, her education, and how she came to have the knowledge that she has in such a profound capacity. So let us know about you and how you got here.
I worked a job when I was 19, hooking the internet up from dial-up modems, which were very slow, into broadband cable modems on the back end of our country with fiber and copper, which is a bit different than the big cities. Our big cities have less connectivity than places where we have all our farmland.
Yes.
Okay. So for me...
I'm in Podunk.
And Podunk was where I was working too. So for me, I come from literally building the internet at its last junction point when it was all dial-up modems, very slow, and everybody was getting a cable modem in 1999 for Charter Communications, which is an internet service provider. You know them now as Spectrum. I think they're fully changed.
Yeah, they've changed a few times.
Yeah. But that's when I say the back end of CONUS, Northcom. That's your military, command and control. Well, they protect us. They have to be able to see everything, which means they see through your internet service provider for something called cybersecurity. This company that you're looking at, this is a textbook from 2013 For people who want to get, that
You have to get right up on
shiny.
there, yeah, and
Okay,
tip it
hang
at an
on, there we
angle.
go. For people who want to
down, yeah, up or down.
specialize in cybersecurity, Cisco certifications, okay, 2013. And this is my bread and butter because I was a network architect. Now, most of the time when I say cable modems, people's first thought is you're installing a modem into the computer at the house or working at the desk where people are selling them. No. My job as a field technician was to tell all of your cable TV guys, every single one of them, from the engineer of the plant to the guys you have to specialty call when the poles go down near a power company. I told them what to do. And I was one of two people, for the state of Wisconsin, minus Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Madison. That's a huge amount of responsibility. When we would lose connectivity, $350,000 a minute that we were down. You do not get to be down. You don't get to make mistakes when there's you and one other person. So, with a pressurized high-profile job like that, which I didn't think of it that way at the time, I was just very interested in networking, cybersecurity, and I wanted a faster internet connection than the dial-up. But with that amount of knowledge, a lot of really awful things happened to me, transpired, after I left that job and took a job with the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as an information technical professional or information services technical professional, because the campus at UW-Whitewater in 2003 did not have wireless. And I would have to imagine that there's very few, even with your audience, that doesn't know what wireless is. Your router, your phone is wireless. It ain't connected with a wire. Back then, the college campus didn't have wireless yet. And because I had just finished helping with such a massive upgrade to the backbone of the entire internet nationwide, I took that job, and it was my job for the whole campus to oversee anything they connected to, underground, above, whatever. IBM software, IBM computers, whatever. After I left that job, I was permanently disabled now for 20 years. And some very strange things happened when I was disabled. So I'm going to leave that off here for now.
Okay, that's fine.
A lot of people have heard that part.
Yeah.
They closed the door and went, Synergist can type it in the chat.
So basically, she noticed some things that were going on, and some things that this new technology was being used to do.
There we go.
And she had questions about its validity and possibly its legality of being used in such a manner. And
So
life ceased to exist for you, basically.
Yes. Well, that can't, yes, because when I figured out that I went to the post office, you go to the post office, and they said 6G, and I live in West Virginia, and I went, what? No. I worked at the cable company. No. That we're not having that. Like, it's not what you think. No. Post office. I'm a property owner. They said, we have the 6G. So I went to hunt down emergent technology because I wanted to know if that was real, practical, applicable, deployed, not just someone's rumor. And so when I went and I found out, yes, it is deployed in my tiny town, I wanted to know more. And they said it's an emergent technology, 6th generation wireless. 6G stands for 6th generation wireless. And as I just explained, I was physically present and involved for 3 and 4G physical deployment at the age of 19 to 24 years old. So for me, it was easy to look at what has gone on and went, whoa. But what I didn't know is on chapter 1 here in this Emergent Technology College textbook from 2021, which you can get a free PDF of this now. Turn it for you. There are 2 textbooks to this. And the technology that they refer to is called the Wireless Body Area Network. Period. It is a technology, an emergent technology. So I opened the college textbook, and the first thing I saw was human-computer interaction. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And the first chapter says, human and machine trust, considerations, concerns, and constraints for lethal autonomous weapons systems. And immediately I thought, what? You mean like Terminator the movie? Get out of here. Huh?
Now, how can you give informed consent to be basically consumed by artificial intelligence or data processing that you don't know is occurring?
And not only not know it's occurring, but when I say these things, people lose their mind. And they did. They acted like they were 2 years old. They acted like they couldn't read. They told me over and over again across the internet, this ain't a college textbook. No, it's a Harry Potter grimoire. I'm not joking. I am not joking. I wish I were kidding. I'm not. And I couldn't figure it out.
The Bull. Why are you reading? That's the Pokey Puppy.
What are you doing? And then, how many of you have Bitcoin? How many of you have heard of Bitcoin? Right? Everybody goes, oh, cryptocurrency, and you use it for different things. You can get a wallet. You can make money off of it for years now. Huh? Not according to Wikipedia. And then people would holler, well, Wikipedia lies. And I'm like, oh, here's what we're doing. This is a college textbook, and it says emerging technologies. So what I challenge people to do is called Google Fingers. I want you to right now open a window because you're listening to us. Google Fingers, and just type in emergent technology Wikipedia. Hit enter, and you're going to click on it, and you look on the left-hand side, and it will tell you Bitcoin's not here yet. It's still in development. 3D printing is not here yet. It's still in development. An emerging technology means we're not there yet. It's not out there.
You want a country analogy?
Sure.
So if I were a farmer in the timeline that they say emergent technology, if I were a farmer and followed the same kind of timeline and I said I have an emerging lamb, then you should already know that I've already raised it for 2 years, sent it to butcher, and got it in my freezer because it's already been there, done that. It's all, we're done.
Yeah, she's right. Because look at the left-hand side of that Wikipedia. None of that is here. It's still being developed. So, lethal autonomous weapons system is number 13. Here in our references, let's see if I can put that there. That is Pentagon Directive 3000.09, which as of January 25th, 2023, has been deployed under robust tested conditions, period. So it's already running, it's already deployed, and when we come up with something in the military, there's research and development, then they put it out there, then they test it, and load balancing and all sorts of things, and then it's fully deployed. This Pentagon directive is fully deployed. Now, how many of you out there are thinking that that drone is going to be able to find you by your own DNA? Well. And then they all think thermal, sound, and all these things by your DNA, because that's what's written in here and in the second college textbook as well. And so I went to war with our Department of Defense. I'm like, whoa. I don't want to hear any more about boogada anything. I want to know how, right?
Well, yeah.
Tell me how. I mean, if the drone is hunting me by my DNA, or not hunting, wait a minute. How about protection, right?
Just locating for multiple
location.
Purposes.
There you go.
Yeah, just location for multiple. Why? How?
How? I wanted to know
if
how.
I paid for it, I want to know why, how, when, where, every adverb on the list.
So you would think that our military folks, law enforcement, I don't know, curious people would want to know. No, it got worse and worse online. This is a Harry Potter grimoire. And I said, well, that's a Department of Defense directive. No, it's not. Silence. And I'm going, that's weird. Like, what? Well, I don't get it. So I kept reading. And I went back to MIT and I went to Princeton. And when I say back to MIT, I'd been there already looking at what they were doing, but people didn't understand the high-level math, so I went back to Princeton. I went to Cambridge. I went to Oxford. And I built a PDF. It's free. You can download it. It's simple. It's easy. Because all it is, Literally, all it is, the PDF on Synergy, are the papers that explain your body is connected to the cloud since 1995. Google fingers, Wikipedia, Body Area Network, Wikipedia rather, sorry, I said that wrong. Google, Body Area Network, Wikipedia. Hit enter. And then you read the paragraph. Oh, we've been doing this since 1995. And they're all proud of themselves. And then you'll come back to on that emergent technology tab. Hopefully you still got open. And it'll tell you, no, it ain't here yet. We had a big conference about it in 2021, wrote college textbooks, went to college, went to school, but it ain't here yet. As she said, lamb meat's in the freezer. We haven't done anything yet. We're just thinking about it.
That lamb's done dead and in the freezer, yeah. So normally, by the time they tell us something, it's been out there for normally multiple decades. Now, my uncle retired from the Air Force. He spoke in front of Congress twice. Ask me what my retired uncle fears the most. The government he worked for. Now, that doesn't sit well with me. I worked for the Department of Corrections. I dealt with the governor for clemencies. Ask me who the most hateful man I ever talked to was. The governor of my state. That didn't sit too well with me. So I'm sitting here going, okay, I'm helping you keep the state afloat. I'm helping you, do all of this. Why am I being treated basically like a peon? And if I question that, I was treated even worse. And so I watched everyone around me kind of go into this submissive state, whether it was for survival or just sheer fright. And I was born without that genetic possibility. I don't have a submissive state. It just is not within me. So I keep questioning, I keep asking, and I keep prying. And some people find that very annoying, especially the people that have secrets.
Well, I would say that rather I wouldn't use the word submissive necessarily. I disagree with you. I think you're an easygoing person, but this is my body. This is my space. Like right now, if I start doing this and you're like, hey, could you put your arm down, right? Normal.
Oh, I can't see, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about healthcare, that's my body, all right? And you're telling me these are electroceuticals in the new AI precision healthcare. Okay, how? Crickets.
Crickets.
I have another Google fingers. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So now go ahead and Google this. Just type it in and hit enter. Now, y'all, we've had 3 exercises so far.
That was on my mind right then. Why does it have?
And I bet you that you out there are very proficient with typing on a keyboard. And I bet you started and went, Body Area Network, Wikipedia. Wow. Okay. Google that.
Mm-hmm.
And then read what it says. So when I hold up the college textbook to draw what we've just done all together.
Yes.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed you chapter 1. Then I showed you reference number 13 with the Pentagon Directive 3000.09, which you can also Google.
Yes.
And then you see this is a college textbook. That is a Pentagon Directive. Okay. What does that have to do with you and me? Right?
Well, that's what a normal person would wonder.
Google that, hit enter, read it. Now tell me how. And that's what they left out. They didn't bother to tell nobody since 1995. That's you. That's your butt on the cloud. And I don't want that. Do you want that?
I don't want my butt on the cloud.
I don't want to be on the cloud at all. And if I did, I want my doctor to tell me what's going on. And that was the part that hurt me the most. That was the part that made me vicious intellectually. And I demanded intellectual acuity. Dude, if I worked a job in it, what are you doing? Because they're not talking about it in professions. And if we cannot have a discussion as adults about what we do when we go to work, it would be one thing. It would still be bad, in my opinion, because it makes communication nigh impossible. But this is about your health care. This is your health. Me, you, everybody. And they said nothing. So I have another picture for you. I'm not going to say it out loud. You're welcome, YouTube. I want you to read what's on the top. Okay. Look at the picture. All right. And then this is another technology that's been out since 2005,
with our international standards of electrical and electronics engineers. So you type in 802.15.4, and you're going to find another technology that is emerging. I don't know about you, but it's 2024. That means 20 years ago, it's still emerging. I'll tell you, that meat in your freezer curated.
It's that
like
meat's
you wouldn't
going
believe.
bad right now. It's been in there so long.
And this is why I'm like,
Freezer burnt.
oh, so if you Googled what I showed you a moment ago and you're going, how are they doing that? Because we got a new healthcare going on and it's very wireless, because nobody mentioned that in 1995, we were already watching you from the inside out with your blood and tissue. How? This is where I try to oversimplify legitimately. Tell me how.
You get crickets again, don't you?
Yep, because
But you do
Here
get
we
told.
go.
What's the one thing you do get told when you ask people, tell me how? They always respond with, you are the word you hate the most.
oh, me?
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Okay, now I have my master's in psychology. I have worked with a lot of crazy people. I've worked with sociopaths, psychopaths, murderers, homicidal maniacs, and people that are just narcissists or histrionic narcissists. I've seen the whole gamut. I mean, it's just woo, it's out there. I have known you now for what, a couple, 3 years,
2 years.
2 years,
Mhm.
and spent a lot of time with you. You visited several times for 3 to 5 or 7 days at a time. She would stay literally a mile and a half down the road.
I was just going to say, this time I stayed right here.
And this time she's staying with me, but I've kept almost in touch daily. Basically, we talk at least 2 to 3 times a
Oh,
week.
yeah.
This is a high functioning normal woman. She just has a brain that surpasses most of us. So when we see something that surpasses us, we automatically get defensive and go into a fearful state. We go into our amygdala. We go into fight or flight. So therefore, we want to hate her or we want to follow her. And that's basically your two choices. When you see somebody that scares you, puts in your amygdala, you either have to agree with them and go with them, or you have to run from them. Now, someone that doesn't go in their amygdala, that has a curious nature and that, isn't going to have that fight or flight instinct on them, they're going to be curious and they're going to ask questions and they're going to get to know her before they make a suggestion that she is not of
Can I
sound
interrupt
mind.
you for a second?
Yes.
It has been, I didn't realize that's part of it too. I don't want anybody to follow me. I've told my channel, do not subscribe. You may not donate to me. Please don't email me. All I want you to do is harness the power of your Google fingers and remind yourself how smart you already are.
Yes.
Because this is not hard.
No.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
Like telling people, like you said, lamb, oh, it's emerging. I just, oh my word, I don't know.
Been in the freezer 3 years.
1995
Yeah.
is a long time ago. So for me, being called crazy over and over, I could not comprehend why everyone was behaving as if they did not have jobs. I thought not everyone, but many people knew. And everyone told me, nobody knows. No way. No way. Not after all the jobs and college degrees. And so into the YouTube, and here's W-band degrees, PhDs in the wireless body area network. And I'm going, 4 years ago, Purdue University. What are we doing here? What is going on? Why is this this is a secret? This is human anatomy. And it just got intense from there. I want to say something really quick.
Okay.
Because I thought you were going to say, everyone always thinks when I say you're tethered to the cloud that they need to have a chip or that they're going to get the Neuralink or whatever. No. See, there's a picture here and I got more Google fingers for you. Biofields. Hit enter on your computer and scroll down to where it says National Institute of Health. It's a body part. And they all know it. But if you say anything about it, you're crazy. Unless you're doing a job in it. But then you don't get to talk about what you do for work.
Yeah, basically all it is like a 6 to 10 foot energetic field that your body produces because it's electric. Now, I used that energetic field when I was a young girl because my father was a blacksmith. I trained horses and I halter broke show cattle, and I worked heavily in the livestock end of things because I was a farm rat. Okay, that's what my dad was a farm rat and I was a farm rat. So I used that electrical field and that pressure to work horses in round pens to get them to latch on to me. I put electrical and pressure onto them with my field, until they were submissive, and then I brought it in and allowed them to approach me.
Just like when you walk into a job interview, just like when you want to give a good first impression, just like when you're going up in the club and your energy is like this versus
You see that handsome man across there, and you zero in, and yeah, you're sending out, your body's sending out electrical impulses
all the time.
That's why every time somebody is near death, they bring out them paddles and go clear. I mean, why else would you need? You know, it's like on. There's so much reality in sci-fi. It's like. Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart's right here by my foot. My heart's by my foot. But basically, if we did not have electricity in our systems, we would not be able to function. We would die.
Yeah, we're biochemical, bioelectrical beings. So here's our hearts. Is your heart electrical? Yes or no? Because otherwise you're going to sue that guy at the hospital coming at you with them pads going, what are you doing? So why is it so difficult then for people to admit you're an electrical being? Is your heart electrical? Look at the ECG and the EEG and all, or excuse me, the ECG and all the different ways that we measure our heart electricity.
EEG, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's why I have a heart. Hillbilly Heart has a heart. Do you have a heart? Well, then you are an electrical being.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
like, that's what forces it to contract. It sends an impulse that forces the muscles to contract. So if our body does not have electricity within it, it is non-functioning. We are energetic beings. We are electrical beings.
Yes. So as electrical beings, we are the best antennas. And I don't know about you, but I did not give my permission to anyone to connect to my body or connect my body to... What's that?
It's your coffee.
I turned it off.
I will go investigate. You keep talking.
Ooh, okay.
It's the heebie-jeebie people coming after us.
Dun-dun, dun-dun.
It's okay, I'm well armed.
You better behave. We'll get something out in the yard to take care of you.
Oh, it's our roast.
Oh, yes, dinner. Amen.
Grass-fed cow.
Excuse me. So the most important thing that I want people to understand is this is super simple. You don't need me. You don't need to be on the channel and hooking in and trying to figure it out. It's some simple Google fingers of putting back your own intuition, common sense, intellectual accountability. If it's good enough for them,
It's just telling me it's starting again.
then it's good enough for you to know that's your anatomy. Unless you gave permission to somebody. Now I'm going to explain this really quick.
Go ahead.
So we have something called medium access control in computer networking. And this is a component of things that really made me upset as a former information technology professional, that no one came forward and mentioned that MAC IDs are used with cable modems and all sorts of stuff. And when humans are emitting MAC IDs, excuse me, that's it's called Bluetooth Low Energy. 802.15.4. It's a technology, an emerging technology in use since 2005. So I don't know what you want to call the community that allegedly is going out there to tell people the truth, but no one, I could find no one. Ham radio, radio frequency professionals, information technology, nobody would simply explain, that's medium access control in computer networking. Carrier sense multiple access. The electrical signal is going across and it has multiple access points. Two types, beacon enabled or non-beacon enabled. And there's a whole lot of other confusing tech stuff. But anything that is a medium that we are watching with the cloud, it's going to have a MAC ID somewhere. FCC, Federal Communications Commission, legal. And what I watched was so insulting to anybody who, if you call yourself a computer technician, information technology professional for 5 years now, are you just laughing at people? It was horrible.
I can tell you why they laugh. You want to know why they laugh? People have this issue. Okay, we have been trained ever since the TV was invented, ever since movies were invented, where they could control the scenarios and the environments, and they could show you what they wanted you to envision the world to look like. So everything had a meaning, everything worked out perfect. There was always a circular revelation somewhere, and everything was always all right. And so, like in the movies, when it's cold, all the kids have on jackets. So when you're going to real life, you see a kid without a jacket. Okay, and you're like, that's wrong. That kid could have a jacket. Well, maybe that kid was just jumping out to check the post office, the mail, and running back in and didn't want to put on a huge jacket. But your mind, because you've seen in all these movies and television you watch and sitcoms and miniseries, you've seen this role play of perfection of life. And that there's no question, and that there's a certain status and certain behaviors that are okay and certain behaviors that are not. And so then you go into your real life and you see people that don't follow those fictional characters that you have absorbed as real. And you see them as problems because they don't fit the norm that you've been trained to see in the videos, in the TV, in the sitcoms, in the Friends was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
They normalized a lot of behaviors that were not positive for young adults, especially a group that interdated and had a lot of interplay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be careful with my words. Well, I mean, there was 3 bulls and so many heifers in the same field, and they made it sound like, it was just the greatest thing in the world. And so it normalized a lot of how people thought people lived, behaved, how friendships were made, and stuff like that. So when you go out into the real world and you don't see that, you think something's wrong. So now when you see somebody that challenges something, because look at the movies they're making now. If somebody challenges something, it's like so far-fetched that it's non-believable. But if in the real world you see somebody that challenges something, you think you're not normal, you don't fit the norm, you're not a hero or a heroine. Those are only in the movies. Those aren't in real life. I'm not used to this. This doesn't compute because I've been trained by a stupid box. Mine's always on the radar. I rarely watch TV. Mine's always on the freaking radar so I can see where the weather is. But you're trained by what you consume. And if you're consuming Friends, or, oh my God, I watched a miniserie called Harlots on PBS Masterpieces, the app. Hello, that was, seriously, you think that's what life was like back then? Mind blown. But no one asks questions. They just consume that as actual real. That's the real thing.
Ooh, I have one for the normalization too.
Oh, go for it.
What I was just saying about why didn't anybody explain what a Mac ID is, given that we've been doing this since 1995? Because they normalized keeping the secret that you're attached to the cloud.
Yep.
Now you tell me out there, just stop for a minute. Just think. We got all these young people, old people, and they've been working these jobs with your body and mine. Didn't say a word. And now for 5 years, nobody could explain what a Mac ID is to their friends, to their loved ones. Calm down. It's okay. This is what we're doing. Can you explain that to me? From what she just said about all this normalization, what I saw working in the information technology industry at 19 years old, I saw grown men who were business owners, big money, and they would do whatever they were told like a puppy dog. Mm-hmm. I'm the IT professional. And so long as that IT professional told them, tickled their ears with whatever they wanted to hear, they had no comprehension how much money they were spending, how much time it really took. And I watched people take full advantage of that really bad. I did not. It disgusted me, but I have a work ethic.
You don't find many people who have work ethic.
No, I was just going to say, we don't have a lot of that going on, unfortunately, either. But people normalize just lying.
Yeah.
Straight to the boss, so long as they could get away with it, until the computer system in the business broke down to such a degree that it had to be fixed. And then they'd find out whoever you had in IT was fluffing you. They were BSing you. They were not being honest. And this went on in the 90s and the zeros often. So another reason why, for me, almost 45, I'm sitting here going, why didn't you tell people? And when I saw people losing jobs and being told things that were horrifying and completely the opposite, hang on, what's in a college textbook?
Yeah.
I could not make that make sense. Nor could I sit around and be like, well, someone else going to take care of it. It's fine. I'm going to go outside and just relax. It's fine. Even though I understand what you're doing. Then came even worse consequences of lying. No lying. No more lying. For those of you that know where that comes from. Amen. Why didn't you tell people? You went to school for this. Because we have a cyber physical backbone
Well, here's
2
the
years
bigger
before
question.
2019. Go
Here's an
ahead.
even bigger question. Why didn't people want to ask the question? Why didn't people line up to ask? Well, you want to know why? Because Billy's got soccer at 5 on Saturday. I've got brunch with the girls Sunday
Yes.
at 2. My husband's working an extra shift this night. She's got gymnastics at 6. I've got, and that's what they see as normal because that's what they see on this television.
Mhm.
And we have created a false reality. And then they think if you look for these behaviors that are they're not accurate. I won't say they're
It's not
necessarily
human.
wrong. It's not accurate. Then they'll call you, oh, you're one of those conspiracy theorists, or they'll say you're like the Bob Ross conspiracy theorist, where you see one thing that matches. Like Bob Ross painted a mountain one time, and it looked like the mountain. And I say looked like, air quotes, the mountain where they found 5 murdered victims. And they said, oh, Bob Ross must be a serial killer. Well, that was a big jump. So they think in their head, everybody that has questions or is thinking ahead or in opposite directions, you're a Bob Ross, conspiracy
And the other
theorist.
one, don't rock the boat. You can't know unless you have 3 letter, all these degrees, all these letters behind your name, and they wouldn't let anybody talk, even in just basic
I got letters
conversation.
behind my name. It ain't never done crap for me. It makes it harder to sign my name because then I got to sign everything else.
But no one was allowed to ask questions, and nobody was allowed to explain anything. And we're at a point now where if you can't be honest about human anatomy, that is right there on the National
God.
Institute of Health, that allows things. I have one more sign here. That allows things that we talk about in command and control. Google fingers. C4ISRnet.com. This would be ISR, Information Surveillance and Reconnaissance. Okay. And our Army is out there writing articles. This is from September 14th, 2022, talking about multi-domain sensing system with high accuracy detection exploitation system. Now, everyone's with acronyms in the military or even in businesses, people go, what are you talking about? Sensors everywhere, air, food, inside of you and me. Hang on. Sorry, Liz, I have my sign out of order.
Just so many signs.
Sensors. It's the same thing. They're little electrical sensors. They're everywhere since 1995. And nobody said a word. Otherwise, your Fitbit and all the cool stuff that you got going on with the different haptic technology for gaming and those things, it wouldn't work. And yet it does. Oh, yeah. And instead of telling people, we're using your own anatomy to power these sensors. What'd they tell you for the last 5 years? Well, certainly they did not tell you what they're doing. They told you it was your fault. And if you didn't do what they said, I'll just say it this way, horrible consequences.
Wear your face diaper. Stay
Mhm.
away from people. Don't interact.
Wash your hands endlessly. That was another one with the alcohol and all these other things.
Sanitize everything.
Mhm.
Basically, treat your body to a buffet of never knowing what it needs to defend itself from.
And whatever you do, anybody that talks about the human biofield, the aura, that's how they behaved every time. I said the aura is the layman's term, the old way of talking about the human biofield. Then on one of our people from the Rumble Dads channel, who is non-vaxxer 420 on the Rumble, there was a really intelligent person there named Eliso. And he said, Sabrina, I want to know about the history of the wireless. I'm not buying this. What's going on? So I dug and went all the way back. The human biofield was already on the National Institute of Health. It was removed in 1910. That's fact. Go find it yourself. Multiple Google Scholar references. Why would you remove human anatomy from the National Institute of Health? Unless there's a reason for that.
It's financially solvent for them.
And don't put it back until 2015. And between 1910 and 2015, if you tried to talk about the human biofield, the aura, you're crazy. Period. No discussion. It's human anatomy. Nah. You're nuts. Discussion ended. Now, why would you do that?
What happens when you have a small office of coworkers, and one coworker comes in a very bad mood? What happens to the whole feeling of the office, the whole vibe of the office? It's affected, correct? Okay, what happens when you're taking a walk and you go down the street and the neighbor's dog is loose and you didn't anticipate it and it stares and growls at you? You pick up a feeling, correct? Right? All these things are senses that are created by energetic swaps. You're swapping energy with that dog. It's saying, don't come down here. And you're saying, oh, I don't think I will. All of these things are energetic communication made possible by our electrical bodies that emit this energy. And that's how we feed off of it. So people that say, well, I've never experienced that. Okay, so you had a really bad day or a really bad incident in the morning and it didn't ruin your whole day? Because it altered your energetic flow the first thing in the morning. You've always got one boss that is an absolute sphincter police, pucker factor 25 plus, pulls the leather off the seat chair. I mean, one of those that, yeah. You feel absolutely the same when you're around that person? You understand when people don't have good vibes. Like when I supervise murderers, so I would have some of them come in and I would be like, whoa, that's a bad feeling. And so I got very used to understanding that I needed to sit still and let them sit in their chair for 5 extra minutes while I picked up on what they were sending out. When I trained horses, I did the same thing. I put them in the round pen first and I played with their pressure points and how they responded to me. And if I walked toward them as a predator from the quarter or hind, if they would move out, if they were scared, or they would turn and fight, that would tell me kind of what their personality was. All that was energetical pressure. And people go, you don't emit energy or a field. You don't emit a power source. You don't. Okay, well then, how do mothers chase off like bears that attack their children when they're hiking? I mean, when I was 12, I wanted to go fishing at a pond. And I took my freaking fishing pole and I went fishing. I thought I could bluff that Brahma bull. And I almost had him bluffed. But I figured out, I had the thought in my head, he's about 1,300 pounds. You probably need to shut up and run. I was in 4th grade. I ran to the nearest tree, which was about 10 foot from the fence. And I got up that tree. I had to sit in that tree for like 4 hours till my dad came home.
And the fishing pole was stuck to the side of the head of the
bull.
Yeah,
because I had smacked the bull with it when he ran after me. So the fishing pole was stuck to the bull. So he's at the bottom of the tree, pawing and snorting and waiting for me to come down. And I'm feeling the vibe that, he's going to kill me if I go down this tree. Not a good idea. You're emitting some really nasty vibes. And I'm now prey vibes, okay? Because I'm in 4th grade and I'm up a tree. My dad comes home and he's like, what in the crap are you doing? And I'm like, I just wanted to go fishing. I thought I could bluff the Brahma bull. Don't ever bluff a Brahma bull. Never. And my dad said, and I said, yeah, my dog, you took it to work this morning with you because my dad was a blacksmith, worked at a huge horse farm. He said, oh crap, I forgot her at the barn. So who went and got my dog Pepper, brought Pepper home to me, and he said, Pepper, go. And Pepper came, looked at me and looked at that bull. She come under that fence, and I tell her, walk slow, because I wanted to sneak up on that bull and scare the crap out of him. Walk slow. That bull zeroed down on her. She was tiny. She was about 27 pounds. That little 27-pound blue heeler buffed. She bluffed that 1,300-pound Brahma bull. And when he broke and showed fear, she sailed and latched onto him. And when she sailed and latched onto him, my little boat went down the tree and over the fence.
And these are the types of situations that tons of you can relate to, I'm sure. Because everybody knows that there's a feeling, like you said, about the person coming in the office in the morning, that there's a feeling there. But here's where the problem is. Any of us that have the ability to feel that body part, tell me where you go to learn about it. Yeah. And then we'll all be stuck in what I call the 4 circles of hell.
I'm very lucky because I was raised with mules, and mules never forget. So if you ever make a mule mad, they will wait for 10 years to kick you. And so you better always be good to your mules, because mules never, like elephants, they never forget. So I was raised with animals that if you did not learn to communicate with through physical, energetic, because you can't go, excuse me, you need to stand still, and they can't process that. They're like, your mouth is moving, you're making this ugly noise. You have to learn how to speak a physical language with them and an energetic language with them. And that's how you work with animals. So when I was tiny, before I was in kindergarten, my grandpa taught me how to hook up mules and harnesses. And you know why? Because he didn't want to bend his back to break his back because he was old. And I could go right under their bellies and get all the clips. But I had to be able to trust those mules. And there was a huge energy swap. So close. I was so close to the Belgians and the mules that I could climb the fence when my grandma wasn't watching. My grandma Jessie, I drove her crazy. When my grandma wasn't watching, I'd climb the fence, and my grandpa had taught me how to G and haul and back up and parallel park the teams. You don't treat that. You don't train a 4 or 5-year-old to do that. Just FYI, you should not do that. So I parallel parked that big old fat Belgian right up to the fence, and I hopped on his little back, and I wedged myself on my back between his big butt cheeks, and I laid there and fell asleep looking at the clouds while it was walking around and grazing in the fields. And then my grandma came out and was all hysterical, and then the horse went crazy because she was hysterical. So, I learned early that how you behave, other things, give that back. I treat my horses good. My horses treat me good. Grandpa's mules are treated well. They work well for him. Grandma comes out screaming. Blondie goes, "What the heck is she doing?" And she didn't care that I was on her back taking a nap. She didn't care at all. So, all these things happen and people go, "Oh, it's, that's just a scenario." No, that is a whole energetic swap.
It is a measurable biological field generated by you and your heart tissue, your bone and sinew, bone marrow, photons, biophotons. And that was the other one I ran into. We're not going to get into it on this stream, but that's another Google fingers for you.
That was a doozy.
But everybody has this energy field, and they lied. And they said, nobody knows anything about it. It's the aura. It's fake, fake, fake. No, no, no. Not worth talking about. Hey, Google fingers. Type that in. 802.15. Oh, no. I ain't talking to you.
Here we go. Hey, Google, shut up.
It's going to lecture you about its feelings.
It told me I hurt its feelings the other day, and I said, shut up.
So when you Google 802.15, leave off the 4, and then type in working group. You're going to see the human biofield right there, all around a little dude standing like this.
And you think all of this is nuts? Let me tell you that the last 3 years I was a parole officer, we had more than just a gun as a tool. I personally thought I had my sarcasm and wit as the best tool I ever had because I could talk myself out of anything. I had so many parolees confused. It was hilarious. They did not know how to take me, and that was my best weapon. They didn't know what was coming next. But we could go down a road, and I had this little thing that looked like a Walmart price checker. Okay, I could point it at the house and pull the trigger, and the guys that were on the extreme that had to be seen at home like 3 or 4 times, I had to verify they were at their house. It would read back their Thomas number, which was their Tennessee prison ID, and I knew who was in there because that had been clasped to them not to be removed. If it removed, it made an alarm and it went haywire. I could also scan and see that there was more than one, and I could call and say, "Tell Billy Joe to go home. He's not supposed to be in your house." Well, he's not in his. He's walking to the other side right now, trying to hide from me. Don't you come go out that back door. Just come out the front door and walk 3 houses down and go home. Leave each other alone, because you're not supposed to be around anybody else that's on supervision when you're on supervision. We had that technology when I was an officer, and I have not had a badge for almost 6 years now.
Mm-hmm. And then you have your, I'll just go over the words, your Stingray and Dirtbox, which people have heard about because local law enforcement has fusion centers. And we don't like to talk about that either. But the important component, I think, for today is that people get a strong comprehension that my presence in this was my will to demand intellectual acuity. If you're going to go to work and do a job in it, or if you're a young person and you're going to college for becoming a biomedical engineer, and you go out there and tell people absolutely nothing, and I am sitting here with my loved ones who are going, and all of our loved ones are going through a lot right now, given that all of this was hidden. All of this was lied about in the common conversations between people.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about earlier with friends and TV shows. So the aura and all of your neurons body-wide for telepathy, empathy, precognition, all of it is just human anatomy that they took away off of the National Institute of Health in 1910. They gave it to private academic institutions. And would you imagine they don't stop researching? Would you imagine they just kept it to themselves, developed emergent technology that emerged in like 1955? It's still emerging. We may never find out about it.
The longest labor I've ever seen.
Right?
But they want to associate emotions with the people that ask these questions. That's why they push for the people that ask questions or want to understand what's going on so that they can say, I wish to give informed consent rather than to remain stupid. They make them, they're like, oh, there's the weirdos, like the show Greg and Dharma back in the day.
Mhm.
You know how, oh, Flutie Hootie, that poor lady
She's
was.
hippie.
She's crazy.
Woo.
And y'all, I'm as grounded as granite. I am like the person everybody runs to when they need help. I am the person, I'm the fixer, I'm the peacekeeper. I am, we live real simple up here. My husband's been out trapping all day. He's in the fur shop now tanning. We live a simple life. We're grounded. We live old school. I'm lucky that my great grandma had a lot of Cherokee in her, and that stuck with my granny and my mom. Mom, it wasn't Cherokee. It was just the way you lived. So I learned a lot of old lore, but they want to make us look crazy when we have some kind of alternative or
If you ask questions.
backwards life. They want to say that we're just stupid, we don't understand. But then you ask them to explain it and you get nothing.
That's what I meant by asking questions. People who are grounded, people who, like y'all with the furring and the trapping and hunting, if you don't ask questions, the consequences are immediate. And could be lethal.
rarely come lubricated.
Right?
It's my favorite phrase ever.
But it's true. It's not, when you are, like you mentioned earlier, watching TV, not in reality, and then, everything's in this nice little clean box, and then in the real world, that was the one I got a lot. You don't believe in anything that you can't see, stay in reality.
Yeah.
Now we have the Apple Vision augmented reality.
Yep.
X reality,
Meta.
virtual reality. There's a bunch
Do
of
you know what
them.
meta means in another language?
In Hebrew, it means death.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have this going on where people are already engaged in augmented reality, and you say, how? How are you connecting to the metaverse? Oh, well, I have a wearable. Yeah? Well, since 1995, you got a little more than that going on. And this was where I hit the brick wall across the board because I knew a lot more than other people did because of where my family is from. This is probably a good segue to start getting into the interview process.
Okay, yeah. So Sabrina did have a very abnormal childhood. It was, we're not going to touch base, but I would just tell you, it is, as someone that has worked with children that come from massively abusive homes and I had to write pre-sentence investigations that other officers had to leave their computers crying, and I had to come down and finish because they couldn't compartmentalize and do their job. They got so emotionally attached. Reading her childhood story is probably one of the most heinous childhood stories I've ever listened to and read about. So the fact that she worked, educated herself, and is a functional human being and a loving mother, should probably knock most people on their behinds, because most people do not recover from the things that she's been through. Now, I'm not going to tell you the things she's been through. That's for her to share. I'm just going to say...
Oh, hang on. For those of you that want to read what she's referring to,
you got brave.
myself and the Firewall put it online today on my website, synergy.com.
Yeah.
For the people that told you, oh, she just came out of nowhere. It's called a who is on a domain name.
You emerged.
Yeah. Yeah, I finally emerged. Way back in 2000. Yeah. Been there for 23 years. Synergy.com. Hi. And then BrinaDawn.com. But as of today, that particular document that was written in 2003, the timestamp and the data stamp, if you will, is there. as is the writing. Now, I caution you, what she just said is
Trigger
true.
warnings. Yeah, there's a lot of trigger
Please
warnings.
do not read that document unless you are mentally sound.
Yes.
And then when you do, all I ask, especially the people who've already seen me and followed me, because they will understand, but they have no idea the gravity of what they've been listening to until you read that. And then you will.
Yeah.
And that's why my family comes from the National Security Agency, period. That's been out there for 47,000 views only on the Odyssey channel on my Wireless Body Area Network presentation. I gave the squad numbers of my family: Signals Intelligence, 6921st, United States Marine Corps, World War II, Fort Meade Station 1, and 6570th First Class Airman, which is the United States Air Force, working with Aberdeen, and veteran for North Korea. I showed MQ-9 Reapers in 1953 on a picture. So none of this for me came from a place of digging on the internet. My family had records that I didn't know anything about. That's why I worked the job. I go to the post office in 2019, and basically all hell broke loose because I understood the technology is not emergent. It's right there.
And I had an inquisitive mind, and I have an open mind, and I take people on an individual basis. And so I wanted to get to know her, and she wanted to make sure that she proved with factual empirical data, records. So here she comes the first time she ever visits with boxes and boxes. I'm like, what did this woman bring?
Mm-hmm.
She brought every record, every hospital record, every doctor's note. And I used to do medical transcription and nuclear med transcription. So I know my way around medication, and I used to refer people to psychologists. I know my way around all that. And I started reading all this stuff, and I can affirm to all of you that what she states about her life is real. I have seen the paperwork. I have seen the doctor's notes. I have seen the absolute lunacy that she has been put through. I would imagine there should be some doctors with some nice little pretty handcuffs on them, but that doesn't seem to be happening anywhere anymore. But she brought all this proof to me because she was afraid that I also would think she was crazy. Now, did I think you was crazy? No. But it took me, I thought you were angry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that's the other one.
That's the thing. She's always angry. She's always angry. I thought you were angry. It took me spending time with her to see that she had the consistent emotional fluidity of any other adult that was in the normal brackets of emotional well-being, and
oh, hang on one second.
that it's aimed at the right place.
There's a lady I'd like to say hi to.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Becca Truly Stewart. That lady right there, Becca, she's one of the police folks that stuck up for me in a different community.
Good, Becca.
Amen. Thank you, lady.
That's, I guess that's
They
my
kept-
LEO sister then.
Yeah, they kept calling me schizophrenic and all these things.
She's
And
not.
not even, I don't even have the,
You do know if you have schizophrenia that the only voices you hear are native ones that are taking you apart, not the world, you. So she would be sitting there thinking that she is crazy. She would be believing everything, and she would be, I'm worthless, I'm useless, I can't do anything. She wouldn't be able to put herself out there and tell you this information that you can actually go and fact check.
and the consistency
Mhm.
and then the balance. And people did not understand that my anger is rooted firmly in the lack of body autonomy. I don't want anyone else looking into me, through me, listening to me. I thought every human felt that way. No, apparently not. And body autonomy means that I have the choice to say no. And when I go to my physician and I say, I want these biosensors regulated or removed, I'm so sorry, what'd you say? You're crazy. You're going to need some meds, maybe about 10 of them. And all these other things that made no sense, but they would not admit the body part. If I went to the police, same thing. And that's, for me, a hard stop. This is my body. I can't go to my doctor. I can't go to the police. There's no lawfare for this.
Well, they've used psychology for the last 30 years to create plausible deniability.
Mhm.
Because they have created, if you look at the diagnostic manual, that keeps changing, by the way, because certain groups that they want to help fund them, they will remove their mental illnesses and say, oh, we don't want you to think you're mentally ill, even though it is mental illness. We don't want to hurt them and make them think they're mentally ill. We can't diagnose them and code them and get them help unless we can do this. No, we don't want to hurt them. But everyone else they want to hurt. It's crazy. It's funded by money. And so when I worked in that, what I realized was they had set the world up for literally, well, since right after Carl Rogers, the grandfather of psychology, they started playing really nasty games and trying to learn a lot about human nature versus nurture. and how just flexible the mind was, and how long it takes all of it to form, because it forms from the back forward. Your frontal lobe is the last thing to form. So how can we screw up the spatial social awareness and control society?
And more than anything, any emotion, any perception, not just emotion, perception that you have, you're not allowed to have that. You need 3 to 5 psychiatrists, and before even seeing them, you better go check your social media, what everyone else thinks, because obviously you're not good enough on your own.
And they can spin anything into a yarn. I mean, my God. I sat there one time and had a client that stated she had been accosted 3 times by pastors in churches. But then she told me she couldn't come to therapy because she had church. Now, excuse me. I told her, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to come see me, because that's what the investigation told me. This is your special condition. She couldn't come on Monday. She had some kind of jazzercise. Your butt will be fine. Come to therapy. Tuesday, she had some kind of computer class she was taking to become more aware about the technology around her. Okay, listen. You're already middle-aged. Give it up, honey. You're behind already. Wednesday, she had church. Thursday, she had a ladies' night prayer meeting. And Friday was her only day off, and she liked to give herself a spa night. And I said, honey, between choosing me and Jesus right now at the moment, I said, I think you need to choose me. I said, because you can see him anywhere, anytime. I said, but I'm only here 3 days a week. And she got mad.
Mm-hmm.
She got very mad. And when they came to me and they said, why did you tell her that? I said, because she keeps putting herself into scenarios to become a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And then she keeps coming out smelling like a dadgum rose. I said, now, I do believe she is a victim. I do believe she's been victimized, but I believe she goes into scenarios hoping for victimization because it fuels her little world. Okay? And so I saw so like weird things, but people will actually completely manipulate their lives. And some psychologists will be okay with it, and they'll say, why did you say that? But then somebody will come in that doesn't need anything, that you do an assessment and you're like, well, this is the first time you got in trouble. You've not done any hardcore drugs. You got a smack on the wrist in court. They just wanted you to have an assessment. I think you probably just need to be monitored, maybe every 3 months, come in for a howdy and make sure you're doing well. Don't think you need any, inpatient or outpatient therapy. But I do believe you need to learn how to structure your home and be a productive person and, narrow down your friend circle. And I'd let them go because they didn't need my services. And they'd come in and say, well, why didn't you put them in inpatient? Why didn't you give them individual counseling? Why didn't you put them in this program? And I was like, because they have to go to probation. They have to work 50 hours a week. They have DCS child parenting classes, and then to be here because the ILP was 12 hours a week. Now, how are you going to do that? That's a speed bump. That's going to make someone fail. His only response to me was, well, that's five things we could have billed for. I'm not worried about money. I'm worried about the mental and emotional well-being of that person. And I don't want to make them fail, to make them feel like a failure. And then they will lose their job. They will lose their child, and they'll give up.
Yep.
So what's the point? That was not the aim of psychology. Psychology was all about money and control and authority. And I realized as soon as I started practicing that I was not like most of the other counselors. I would look at somebody and go, you pulled all of that out of there? I said, so, okay, we have somebody with 2 issues and they're 47 years old. That's half a century with this many issues. That's pretty good. So why are we doing this many things for this many things in half a century? Money. And if they didn't do it, then they got time in jail, or they got their probation revoked, or they got their children taken away, or, and it was just such a severe. And so they really embedded that people that have counseling or psych or psychologist or psychotherapist, or if you're doing anything, even some of the, what they would call in the day fruitier things like the tuning forks and and all that stuff. If you miss those, you were, 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 you were might as well just, sign your life away because they were going to take everything you had, and even your name.
You couldn't mention things
No.
like that in
No.
therapy either.
No.
Ever.
I became sick of that world. I became sick of corrections because they wanted people to fail, because they wanted people to rent the courtroom like a surgical suite, pay the clerk, pay the court, pay restitution, pay to be supervised, pay the jail to stay there. It was a financial money game. Pay commissary, pay $2.75 to eat a nasty bag of Cheetos that's been sitting in a storage room for 10 months. I mean, it was just, I would sit there and question. I was like, so why are we really doing this? And they could quote stuff from training manuals, but they could never give me a lucid emotional response.
I have a comment about that attitude. The counselors that worked
Mhm.
with my mom was akin to the nurses that worked with my friend before she left our world. In that, like you just said, they could read the manual.
Yep.
But there was absolutely no comprehension, no empathy,
They're like dead
no
inside.
nothing. Yes.
They're like dead inside, and it
But back to
bothered
that
me.
attitude. I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job.
Just doing my job.
I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my
we
job.
can justify a lot by doing our job.
What are you doing? I'm so sorry. You're going to have to lose your job. I have to take your house. Might even take your children. You're endangering the world. Can you please tell me what you're putting in me? No. I'm just going to stick out my arm and do what I'm told. I'm not built that way. I would like informed consent. Nah. You don't need that. You need to do what you're told. Because since 1995, that's how we do things. This is a problem. It's very ugly, but it's very simple. This is your body. And if you don't take back your own power to read, ask questions, and get real firm, no different than you would if someone was coming up to you and saying, oh, hey, Liz, I'm going to inject you with this. And you would ask, what are you injecting me with? I can tell you.
Well, I tell you, get the hell away from me.
Wouldn't a normal person be like, hey,
Excuse me.
excuse me.
Yeah, I'm a bubble.
Right. But we didn't get that. But worse, we're the taxpayers, at least here in America. We paid for all this technology. They call it black projects, special access projects, SAPs. And we paid for it. We're not even allowed to admit on our channel for 2 years. That's a college textbook.
It's silly.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
stupid.
That is 2-year-old, psychological person. What level of behavior is that?
That is one of those precognition, everybody has to turn the TV on for you and you don't know how to piddle in the toilet yet.
Yes.
Now I'm country, so I'll put it real plain. Everybody said, why don't you learn how to talk better? Listen, I speak Scots Irish.
That's Hope and Tivon. They're right there.
Hi, Hope and Tivon. Oh my God, I'm in love with your dogs.
I told you they're so gorgeous.
I have one that kind of looks like that, but not quite like that. But kind of.
But he's very handsome.
Yeah,
He got a haircut.
he got a haircut.
Mhm.
I shaved him naked. All but his tail. Oh yeah, y'all have cute dogs. But what was that now? I went into Frenchy world right
Yeah,
there.
me too.
Sorry.
I was over here holding the sign
went
up
in
again
French world.
saying body autonomy, demand it back. It's your body. Don't take injections or
I
drugs.
went to the doctor a
That's
couple
right.
months ago.
Okay.
And I looked because my doctor has changed 3 times in 4 months. I got questions. What the crap is going on here that nobody wants to stay? And I asked him that because I will ask the hard questions, won't I?
Mhm.
And I will ask him in a not very pleasant way. I'll just spit it right on out there.
You mean with your
Um,
doctor, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to, aren't
And I'm
you?
like, you work for me. You only take care of me because I pay you. So you need to answer my questions. This is not a speed date, honey. Sit down. We're going to talk. He does not like me. Okay, but that's okay as long as I'm healthy. Now, 10 years, 10, 12 years, gosh, okay, 20 years ago, I was attacked with an axe and started a bunch of leg surgeries, a lot of damage to my nerve bundle in my left side. Now it's spread. The nerve impulses are screwed up, and the nerve is like a diseased nervous system. It's spread to my organs. They told me I was going to be wheelchair bound. They told me I was not going to be able to walk. They told me I was going to be dead in so many years because I have this horrible disorder that is, and for most people, is much worse. I don't have as severe as an issue as some, but I don't know, like yesterday, half my body worked and the other half didn't.
It worked very well.
Half of it worked very well. The other half was like, we're on vacation, sorry. To the point where I failed.
Well, is that
Well, it was more
is
of a
that what you
slow
really call
slump
it?
down, but I mean, I could not get my leg up under me fast enough to stop me from meeting the pavement in a very slow manner. But I fell, you know. Upper body, I had probably 200 pounds on me, didn't I?
Oh yeah, like it was nothing.
Like it was
Just
nothing. Legs went, oh, we're done now.
mhm.
I can't trust my nerve impulses. It's like MS. I never know what's going to happen or what body I'm going to wake up in. Energetically, when I'm around my friends and I feel better, I do better. So I perked up. I had some heart issues last week because of some stress. Still not over that one. It's going to take a while. That one burned. I'm like that one. I needed a Tux medicated pat. Oh my, yeah. We need some preparation H for that one. That one hurt. It made everything flare. But I was having some health issues. So Sabrina was like, well, I'm going to come visit. I perked up immediately because of the energy swap. I'm home alone a lot. My husband works 14 hours a day at least. He's trapping at least 2 or 3 hours on top of that. Then unless I want to go help in the first shed, which I don't mind to if my hands would work, I don't see him a lot. He's busy. He's trying to make a hobby possibly turn into a business if he has to become my caretaker later in life. Bless the man's heart. I love him. But I told my doctor, I want to know what's going on. You know, I need to know do I have medications that you have given me in the past that have fed you back data? And he looks at me and goes, what? I said, I just want to know if you've prescribed medications or someone else in this office that has fed back data, a biosensor medication. I said, that's fed back data. And he looked at me like I was crazy. I said, don't look at me like I'm crazy. I said, I read the patents. I said, I know they exist. I said, don't you dare.
She has not only read the patents, you have to read more than the patents, but the reason she went there is because when they go, what? Electroceuticals?
Yeah.
Ooh.
He acted completely stupid. And you know what I told him? I said, you can stop. I said, because you're acting like you're slower and smoke off shit. I said, you're not remedial, you're a doctor. So have I ever had anything placed in me that fed back data that I was not aware of? He couldn't answer. He swore he didn't know anything about it. I said, okay. I don't care for him. So I'm looking at possibly switching now since that's going to be my doctor. Not happy with him. Ignorance does not float well with me. And ambivalence does even worse. So you pick a team. I'm one of those pick a team.
It's the same thing. This is my body. And you're sitting there as a white-coated doctor, a professional. Mm-hmm. And you're telling me, you're
not up on the latest. But I am.
And then, well, I didn't see that. Oh, we don't use that. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And on our channel, and I won't get into it on the YouTube, but Google Fingers, it's called Medical Body Area Network. You already Googled Body Area Networks. Don't be afraid. Medical Body Area Network. And my challenge to you is to click on the Images tab and tell me if you can find a picture in which your body ain't in it. Good luck with that.
Good luck with that, yeah.
And when they go, oh, I've never heard of it. Oh, I just don't know. Since 2018, our Federal Communications Commission mandated these doctors and nurses, both of them, they have to know by law for something you might have heard of. HIPAA, health records. Hang on. Let me pull up my
boy, they blew that one a heckin' back.
cybersecurity out again. HIPAA, health records. Cisco, special health records.
You know, these things that are supposed to protect you.
Book number 2, Senior Citizens, Federal Communications Commission, Medical Body Area Network. No lying.
So do you want to know how I've improved myself? I stopped listening to the doctors.
You're going to make the YouTube, man.
I know. I personally had to stop listening to the doctors. I personally had to make a personal decision to become accountable for my own system.
I'm going to leave you alone for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay, slide right out of here. But I had to make a personal. Boy, my hair shines like a red heifer in that sunset. I look like that limousine heifer I showed when I was 14. That's funny. Okay, so sorry, I get distracted sometimes. But they told me I should be dead by now. They told me I should be dead. And I kept asking why. I have a diseased nervous system. Okay. Is it in any organ that is going to completely like stop the ability of my body to work? Well, I never could get a straight answer. It took him 6.5 years to diagnose me because nobody wanted to deal with me. Why? Because the disorder I have is much like MS, but different. It is so individualized because it's trauma-based. It comes from actual harm. that they can't make you a consumer of just a generic line of medications or a generic treatment. So if they can't make you a consumer, you're useless to them. Go away. We're not going to waste funds and research. Go away. So I became a connoisseur of learning about my own disorder, which is called reflex sympathetic dystrophy. They wanted to give me all these meds, and I was like, why? Why? Oh, because it will calm down your nervous system. I would rather feel pain than not know I'm having it. Pain is it's a way that your body tells that you're working and that we have an issue. If you can't feel it, do you know you have an issue? I would rather know I have an issue. Don't you dare give me that. Well, let's do ketamine infusions to calm down your nervous system. I have seen 2-ton Percheron and Shire and Belgian studs go down in 5 seconds with that drug. I'm not putting that in my body. Are you stupid? That's what I'm like, no. So I became the belligerent patient. Well, yeah, I'm belligerent. This is my body. I kind of want it to be around for a while, and I don't really trust what you're saying because I've seen these medications used in other ways, because most medications that are used on humans are also used on animals. And I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. I want to live life. I have a brain. I like to form sentences, and I like big words. Let's leave me alone. So then they started, because I noticed every time they would try to do something, I would get worse. What did the neurology group ever do for me in 7 years? They just put 70 prongs in me and electrocuted me. I am not a nanny goat stuck in the hot fence. Okay. They said, oh, we just need to know if your nerve system is worse. I can tell you it's worse because I can't feel my entire left leg or the bottom of my left foot. You don't have to fricassee me to get that information. What kind of sadistic plot do y'all have? My husband's in corner going, she's fixing to rip y'all a new one. My husband's a very quiet man until provoked. And he's like, she's fixing to get y'all. So why did they keep telling me I was doom and gloom, doom and gloom, doom and gloom? And I just decided, because I come from a very belligerent streak of women and men, thank God. And I just decided I'm going to do what great grandma would have done. I'm gonna act like great grandma. I'm gonna go back out. I make no, this is just me. I'm not a doctor. You talk to your doctor about things like this. I use marshmallow tea for when my interstitial cystitis flares up. It calms that down. It's great for inflammation. I use goldenrod tincture during the winter. Great for inflammation. I use mullein. I make homemade mullein syrup for bad coughs and bad respiratory. You can ask Sabrina here. She's been with me 2 days. She came here really just clogged and snotted up. And I put her on cinnamon and clove tea. And has it been coming up?
It's been coming up.
It's been coming up. So these are all things that I learned just from living in the country. When I was little and I hurt myself or got stung by a bee, I would chew up a plantain or chew tobacco. I probably shouldn't have said it. But listen, Levi Garrett, you could steal it from anybody back in the day. And you'd slap it right on that sting and it would draw it right out. And I, when you got hurt really bad, you would go to the pond and pull the clay out of the ground at the edge of the pond. And you would use that as a poultice. I grew up using castor oil packs on great grandma's knees and elbows because they hurt so bad. It was just normal. These things were normal. And so I just went back to using normal stuff. I take Irish sea moss, which has got like 90 something of the 102 or 103 vitamins and minerals we need in a day. I started looking into natural sources of these things because water used to have all the minerals in it because it went through all the filtrations and the rocks and the layers. It used to have all the minerals in it. Well, then they took it out and they realized we got really sick and they said, oh wait, but we can sell it back to them in capsule form. Hey, why didn't they just let us drink the water? So I took Sabrina yesterday to one of the oldest artesian wells in my area. And she loved the water. I had never been sick in my life until I moved away from here and stopped drinking that water. So what did I do when we went back to doing always? I went back to drinking artesian well water. I filter everything. My mother, and this is a hot topic that someone was talking about early, my mother and father make colloidal silver water. They have one of the machines.
Thank you.
I like colloidal silver water, but I like it in small increments. So if I'm having a super bad flare or I'm having a super bad digestive issue where I feel like I've got like a bad bacteria hanging on, and your body will tell you these things if you pay attention to it. I will say, hey mom, can you run me a gallon That sounds really bad. It sounds like moonshiners. And she'll say, sure, you know, and it takes a while, but it's worth it. And you just drink a quarter cup or half a cup a day, and you know, give you a few days, and it really does kind of help the healing process, and it really kind of purge you a little bit. No, just be prepared. But it's very helpful in small increments. But also when my husband was little and his parents were loggers and land clearers, they would go out and they would often drink from wells. So they had a little silver cup. Everybody drank from silver dippers, just like in the old Victorian times. Everybody had real silver, and the dipper hanging at the well was made of silver because they knew that metal did not allow germs and bacteria to form. So my husband, growing up, he had this little cup, little silver, and it's sitting on the shelf in my kitchen right now. His mother gave it to me as a memory. And whenever they went anywhere, he said Thursday he had to dip it out of the well and sit it for so many minutes before he could drink it, and then he could drink it because they believed back in the day that silver did not let germs and bacteria, you know, continue to thrive. So, you know, all these things are linked back. Like, I'm from Appalachia. If you read a Foxfire book, then you can spend 30 minutes with me. You don't need to read the Foxfire books.
So the colloidal silver question came up on our channel because of all these different products that they're talking about to remove the
Fungal.
to remove the whatever toxins from your, what do you call it on the YouTube? Jibby jab?
Jibby jab. I call it jibby jab.
Whatever. And all these people keep telling people, oh yeah, this product, that product, this wearable, all this stuff. And what I have found consistently is it ties back to the same system. However, what she's referring to is silver in water. Like she mentioned, her
Back in the
husband drinks
day.
it out of the well. And we have, when I spoke to this a week ago or so for me, there's no nano of anything, except I do have colloidal silver water, same way that her parents have it from Terral 03. I've taken it twice, like she mentioned, when I kind of got stuck. And that's just pulling that bacteria, the bacteriophage apart. Now, I'm not going to go into it right now. I'll be handling this on our channel, the Odyssey channel, this week, because Rumble Dad has some phenomenal videos with Professor Achieldes, who's our 6G metamaterial person. And if you don't understand that when you have little bacteria in the form of nanotechnology, which is on our Google Fingers search of emergent technology, Wikipedia, it says nanotechnology on the left-hand side. Remember, it's not here yet. So Google Fingers, NANO.gov. Then just wait. There's a little slideshow up in the front, and it's going to show you 20 years of that emerging technology.
The lamb's 15 years old now.
And so Terral 03 with the silver water is no different than what her parents have, is no different than the cup over there. It's not a product that is manufactured with their materials.
But I will say, I know how it was used back then and what the mindset was then. Now that they have created all of this other stuff, I don't know how it can be used or manipulated now. I don't know that. I live in the old ways. So that's where I go to her for what's happening today, because I can patch you to the past, but I need you to send me to the future.
And we're still working on it
Mm-hmm.
because I want people to know how they've manipulated the body in response to precision AI healthcare.
Yeah.
If they weren't able to watch every cell you have on the scaler, which I hope those of you went to Wikipedia, oh goodness, and saw this on Body Area Network, Wikipedia, scale. This is inside of the band. The band stands for B as in boy, A as in apple, N as in Nancy, Body Area Network. What's inside of it? Can we read the map here? Like a Russian nesting doll. Here's the NANO.gov website, and then the Body Area Network inside of all these other networks. Okay. This is the Synergy Tech Metric PDF. This is what I go over on the Odyssey channel. And what's that? What do we see right here? Liz, what does that look like to you?
It looks like a human body.
Well, that certainly looks like a body. And this is what I mean when I say your new healthcare with precision, AI healthcare, electroceuticals, all these different things are absolutely being monitored. There are no maybes in this system. This is since 2013, what you're seeing right here, this little mapping. And this is why we can't continue to tap dance and pretend that we're too stupid to talk about our own anatomy. I'm going to show this
I'm not
one.
an organ grinder's monkey.
Yeah, and I don't appreciate, again, this is just me, but I certainly don't appreciate that for 5 years. No other information technology, radio frequency, ham radio people, doctors, nurses, nobody could just admit what we've been doing with the World Health Organization and our own country, everywhere in the world, with these metamaterials in 20 years of nano.gov. And that does say energy. Sound out that second word, huh? Okay, so if you think it's bad enough that they're looking around and doing things, no, it's called Sustainable Soylent Green. That would be you.
I'm sorry, that just hit me wrong. Sorry, that just hit me wrong.
Quiet now, because if we flip the page, see, here's this page of the Synergy Tech Metric PDF. Find a synergist, they will help you. And here's our little friend in 2012 with his nifty EEG headset using Sensors Open System Architecture. Jobs. Hang on. Jobs, more jobs. That's what we ran into repeatedly on the channel. And that's why I made the Synergy Tech Metric PDF, because I couldn't believe that for 5 years we could not talk about all these jobs. And the end user for these systems, all you have to do is look at the pictures. Hang on, I have a human here, so I'm going to test this. Hang on. Can we recognize these pictures? Hang on. What does it say?
I'm blind. You're asking me what that says.
A little green guy right there.
Physician,
What does that look like?
emergency service,
Ambulance?
ambulance.
Ambulance.
Ernest T. Bass. Yes, so that's a physician in an ambulance.
Pardon
And
my nose.
then, and I guess that would stand for the hospital or something, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then it says satellite up here. Okay. And this is what I mean by treating people as if they're less than human when you're not honest with people at the level of using their own body parts to transmit data for you, the doctor. We have electroceuticals, AI precision healthcare. Oh, yeah. We're going to give you cancer, take it away in 15 minutes. That's the Daily Mail a year ago. So where's the dialogue? Where's the conversation? Where's the basic?
There's gaps.
How?
There's gaps in everything because I went and I am bone on bone on my left knee where the most of the damage was done. And so they wanted to give me cortisone shots. No, thank you. That takes years off your life. No, thank you. I live with screwed up knees. My life is more important. Then they said, well, we can give you cadaver cartilage. And I said, but if you put cadaver cartilage in me, that would place another DNA in me, which would probably be attacked by my body or absorbed, which could create more issues. And the doctor looked at me and he was like astonished. He was like, well, we've never seen that yet. Well, how do you know? Because the people you see are crippled. How do you know if it gets any worse? Because they're already crippled. It's not like a Jerry's kid is going to look any worse in the next week or two, you know? I mean, that's a bad joke. I'm sorry, but I do feel like a Jerry's kid a lot of times.
Oh, but it's abhorrent. What? This is abhorrent. This is disgusting. They just look you right in the face and go, you're too stupid to know that anyway. It's like, whatever. We're just going to ignore you and do what we want. Now, that's my personal caricature
That's how I feel too with it.
of that horrible lack of empathy, brown shirting. It's been normalized. Just do your job. You're not smart enough. Or, well, that's not your vocation. Okay, but even if it is, you lie anyways. How many people out there know a doctor or a nurse no longer has a job since 2019 for moral or personal reasons? I'll leave it at that. Okay? And it's what she just said about the DNA stuff. We'll get into that in a couple
That
days.
freaked me out, though. They wanted to put somebody else's dead material within me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Nope.
I don't even like a thorn in my finger.
I have a really quick. Let me know when I can show something.
But I will say the last time that I went to the neurological group, they were actually upset I was not worse. And I was just like, you people are just a joy. Bless their heart, Lord, love them. She was waiting for me to add that one in.
I'm learning. bless your heart.
Lord love you.
Mm.
That can be taken in two ways.
Brief moment of really good solutions that you can find. These sleeping pods are amazing. Amazing. There's a lady that you see, and I hope her name is Karen Ann. She is amazing. She's one of the people that I like to send our synergists to who are looking for wisdom. God bless you, lady. It's wonderful to see you in the chat. Thank you for honoring both of us. by
I
being
feel
here.
goddamn special because now my front porch is just it's a celebrity.
This is blown up out there.
And we patched it, so I got to paint and match it up. Sorry about that, but
We're having porch coffee, and it's awesome. Wait till I'm hoping to show you the birds out in the front. It's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, not the big ones.
This is my closing section for people.
Just
so.
closing section.
Mhm.
Well,
We went all around as far as our original plan.
We set out good intentions, but we follow. I follow whatever I feel the Lord is pushing upon me, because if I don't, normally I get smacked and I get pushed there anyway. So I just have learned to be okay. That's where I'm going to go. But I'm really absolutely thrilled that I've been able to introduce her to another population of the internet. And I have a friend named Joshua Schrock. Sharrock. He has SMA, and he does wonderful, sarcastic, witty newsreels. And he is somebody that is also got that question curiosity because of health conditions. He's seen a lot, in his probably way more than I have with his condition and stuff. And he's probably someone that y'all might want to follow. He has a very low. He has like 400 people that follow him because he just does news segments, and a lot of people don't like.
Is that the guy you sent me this morning?
Yes, he's awesome.
Good stuff.
He's awesome.
Very condensed. Synergist, those of you that are here, he's very condensed.
4 to 6 minutes. That's the tops. Normally it's 2 to 4. And he gives you, like, he taught me today all the things they were changing in Michigan, which literally violates what this country was based on. And so he's someone that's going to be very helpful in another aspect. Like, I pick friends that fill in my blind spots because I don't like to be blind anywhere. So I don't pick people that are like me. I pick people that are different.
I like to learn new things, so I like to be around people that know something very different than me.
I'm building my little fort.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for my lookouts and my blind spots. So that's why I pick a group of friends. And we're all polar. I mean, we're all very different. Everybody, okay, there was a very nasty comment on the Synergy page, or one of the pages, or Nanovaxxer page, I don't remember. Anyway, it said that I was licking your butthole. I can say that.
Are you serious?
Listen, they had PORN on YouTube, so if I can say that, listen, I should be able to say that. Yes, and I told her that normally when you go to attack somebody, you actually bring out and shout your weaknesses at others, and that I felt bad for her, and I would advise mouthwash.
That's super offensive to me.
Well, I thought I zinged her pretty good.
No, I mean, given what I am glad you explained what you did earlier about how I was so afraid to even be friends with you because I'm just so done with
She was
people.
terrified of my husband.
Oh, man.
And now they sit and laugh at the table together. She was terrified of my husband. But yeah, it took you a long time to learn to trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was sitting there just like trying to leave croutons of a trail to lead her to me.
I'm just so done with people calling me crazy when this is going on for this many years now, and you're professionals. What are you doing? Come on. Let's come together.
She found some comfort in me when I would say, oh, yeah, this is what they call that, or this is why they do this, or this is the programming here. And so we mesh well, but we're two very different people. Very different people. We have a few things that are similar, but we're pretty doggone different.
We're missing our third person here.
This time. Yeah, we have the holy trifecta when we have Kim with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I call us, the holy trifecta. Because
that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're like a trio of pure possibility when she's with us. We get into everything. But yeah, that's a good energy combo. But so I'm not like, we're friends, and I trust her with my life.
I trust her with my life.
And I trust everything she says, and we go back and forth, and we don't always see things the same way, but we always try to see it each other's way.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Because, where the range is, and how you would see it, what experience contributed to that perspective, and then can we adapt a solution that brings that together and serves both of our needs, or opens up a completely different road forward that we didn't even know was there, because with our perspectives combined, like your color wheel, and all of a sudden you have a different color entirely, a different journey ahead of you.
So it is very important to have people that you trust. And so I will just tell you that normally those people that leave those horrible comments, they are shouting out their own weaknesses. They're shouting out their own fears. They're shouting out their own things that they feel are wrong with them.
Do you have a troll psychology video up?
God, I need to do a troll psychology video.
This woman is an expert in troll psychology, although Rumble Dad is very proficient, like he knows.
You know the Feed the Bird song of Mary Poppins? Feed the birds. I want to do one. Feed the trolls. But I need to do a troll video. But I normally handle them really well, but sometimes I nip them pretty harsh. But normally I'm compassionate. But I understand that all it is they're where they feel insufficient, and you look, very, smart. They go, oh crap, and it puts them right smack in their amygdala, so they attack. Well, it's easy to attack to the phone. Nobody's ever said crap to my face. Of course, I've got a left sleeve and a half back tat, so people normally walk way away from me. But nobody ever says anything in my face. So I really don't take anything that's said on this, too seriously. But I do love the conversations and the information that can be spread. But yeah, there were some vicious comments made, and I was like, wow, they really told on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to leave vicious comments, that's how I'm going to view them from now on. I just hope you know.
What would you call that? Troll treasures the other day. Everybody liked that.
I said in troll traffic, sometimes you find treasures. And I have found several, like 400 new subs, even though I've had probably 40,000 trolls go through. I have found about 300 to 400 new subs that are absolutely bringing a lot of new quality to my channel. And I'm blessed with a very tight-knit subgroup. We're a family, and we care for each other. And so, you listen, like I said, trolls are going to happen on the internet. You can't walk through a cow pasture without stepping in shit. Okay? So we just expect it to happen. But every once in a while, you find a little gem. And so that's what I'm looking for now. I'm looking for the gems. And I told Sabrina this morning, I'm completely okay going into this knowing that this could completely obliterate my YouTube channel. Ask me how much I care about YouTube. That's it. So I'm completely okay because I can go anywhere else and start another one, and my guys will follow me and find me. But it's just more important for you guys to be told there are other options and other perspectives and other ideas out there, and go and look. I can't force you. We all live in a different reality, but in society where the Venn diagram comes together, we all have to function in society in this little leyland of rules and laws and understanding. And when they use that to manipulate the whole everyone else that's hooked into the Venn diagram, now that's where you pick and fight with me. So I just think it's important for everybody to have options and to do their own research and to understand the world they're in and how they affect it and how the world is affecting them. So, and since I've become more healthy and doing better, for 4 years we grow gardens every year. We grow gardens every year until the last 4 years I was super bad, and then we just helped pitch in with the in-laws and my parents' garden, and we would help harvest. My land looked sick. My land looked sick. My barn pasture looked horrible. My trees were not growing. My holly bushes were trying to die. And since I have gone back to like the au natural old ways, I've got maple trees in my yard that were just planted just a few years ago that look like they're a quarter century old. I have got a tortiba hydrangea that a horticulturist said I've never seen one that big. They're not supposed to ever get that big. And I've got a second one almost half that big. My garden was so plentiful this year that we had a little small second garden. We had a doe orphan her fawn in our barn lot, and the game warden said just watch it and make sure it doesn't die, because we live in the sticks, and the game warden's on my Christmas card list. Hey, so we called him Gimpy Gumpy, and he decided he was going to eat my second garden, and we just decided it was probably the best thing to let him do it and act like a deer and then leave him alone. And we had two of the best gardens this year. My land, it like healed with me. So and I grew up I grew up in an area where you're very much attached to the land. Land is the most important thing in this area. And it was also the most important thing to, you know, the Cherokee and the Chickamauga and, you know, on the
Yep.
others from this area.
Like where I
So-
live, you can't just go to where I live and buy land. Most of it is owned by the government anyways.
They're getting
But
there. Yep.
but chicken butt. But my great grandmother was pure Cherokee, right out the woods. That's the same land that I live on that my grandmother was born on. So land is everything, and it's this is also, for me at least, it's such a violation of our own, again, body autonomy to treat humans worse than animals, worse than dirt, and keep treating everyone like they need to be held away from the knowledge of their own anatomy.
Yeah.
So that some doctor, police officer, military, I don't know, fill it in,
Some formal entity.
formal entity can then log in, watch a computer screen of what is happening inside of me. And yet when I'm sitting there in the office or on the phone, telehealth, if I ask a question, I could be administered medication. I could be put on a psychiatric hold. Lord only knows. And with the new credit score stuff that they're not real honest about, that's what I'm going to close with. If that's
Oh
okay.
gosh, yeah, that's important.
The CBDC, your anybody heard of that? The DigiID that doesn't exist? Well, I have bad news for you. I hope you've learned throughout this stream that lamb is a little more emergent than they admitted to. What really got me in closing here,
They don't sell that at Walmart.
yeah, in cybersecurity, oh goodness, Liz, I don't know how to do that. In cybersecurity, the first sign that I made was about your DigiID, because that was another thing I didn't believe in either. I'm like, where are you putting that? How does that work? And what I found was that your DigiID is already full of something called feature values. I'm going to go really fast here, just for a second. For those of you that want to know more about this, you can check out my channel. But I just wish to point out that your feature values are your digital identifiers that we are absolutely attaching to you inside your own blood, bone, and tissue. And for those of you that are involved with Bitcoin and different things, that's peer-to-peer. And in computer networking, that's the physical computer networking layer where we plug it in. And for you, that's your skin. So, am I ready for the big closer? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Then
All
I
right.
have one question for you after you get done.
Okay. SOSA and MOSA
That's what it
are
was.
sensors technologies. We're using applied signal technology. Are you electrical or not? And if you are, Wikipedia, Body Area Network, 1995, you're attached to the cloud. And if you've heard of companies like Boeing and Raytheon and L3 Harris, yeah, they have jobs.
And they lobby big too.
And they send electrical signals through the body using bioelectromagnetic algorithms and nifty little controllers like this for all sorts of things like autonomous drones. And we have bioelectromagnetic algorithms as well. So with all of this going on, all I'm asking is, at least to me, it's very, very simple. If y'all been doing this since 1995 in the machine learning, which is right there, wireless body area network, mandated for the medical body area network by the FCC since 2014, I think, on this one. Yep. Why can't we talk about this? Why can't we tell people that we're routing computer data through their body with 4 levels of cybersecurity?
I'm not a human, Kenna.
You know, I understand that we've already made the jump, but no one else seems to understand it. And instead, we're being, for 5 years now, gaslit and we're LARPing into the future. Can we please establish an intellectual dialogue so that we have a way to communicate with our loved ones about what's really going on with things like the following: the graphene-based sensors and health monitoring? This isn't a maybe. These are jobs with computer networking routing through the human body using frequency modulation. And before you tell me that's crazy, how many cable TV channels did you start out with in the 80s and how many did we have by 2005? That's all we're doing. We're using frequencies of all kinds to log into your skin and bone and make changes. And I'm not okay with this because this is a human body part. It's human anatomy that they're using to do it, and we're not allowed to learn about it. And that's really where the problem is. if they're allowed to go to work and learn about it, all these fields and the way our body actually functions, then it should be an intellectual dialogue, not you're crazy, take drugs.
Well, and you know these things are real because our military uses them in other areas where we're at war.
Last
So we
time.
know they exist.
For those of you that want to play Google Fingers, I wanted to leave off with this sign about your electronic integrated disease surveillance system with the CDC, which has a couple different names. I would like you all that are curious to visit the Rumble Dads channel, which is NonVaxxer420 on the Rumble,
He's amazing.
to learn about Project Maven, Mosaic Warfare, and I'll just turn it like this so that those of you who want to can read it, and then you can look things up and learn about it yourself. It goes with that page 1 in the college textbook, Pentagon Directive 3009.
And realize that, yeah, there are people that drive cars that say we're here to protect and serve, but you can't always trust these individuals. I was one of them for a long time, and I tried to do the best I could do possibly with my job. And while I had so many awards and recognition from the parole board or from my criminal court judges, my managers were upset that I was not sending 37% of my caseload back to prison every month, because it's a cattle call and it is a financial institution. They make money off of that. And they were upset, even though the parole board was glad because it was getting numbers down. The state overall was mad because it was cutting into dividends. And so I felt like I was constantly straddling this fence with who do I make happy? Well, I decided to make me happy, and I was going to help people, so everybody else. That's kind of what I do anyway. I do my own thing. And I never met, when I got diagnosed, I didn't tell anyone my diagnosis. And I got called into the office by my manager. They violated HIPAA. And they said, here's the thing. Do you want a job or do you want a disability? Well, I'm sorry. I didn't know I had a choice. Because they were like, that's your options right now. And if any of y'all know about Brushy Mountain, I grew up with Herman Davis. That was the warden of Brushy Mountain for a long, long time. And he was at the prison, he was a warden, but not at the prison. He was my buddy's grandpa, and he was like John Wayne and Clint Eastwood rolled into one. He taught me a lot about people and behavior and power and how they use it and manipulate it. And oddly enough, they held on to me until about 3 months after he passed away, and that's when I was terminated. Do you know why they terminated me? They told me. My husband just came in the door. He can verify this. My manager cussed me out when they found out about my health, and I had to take FMLA for another surgery. And he called the first day I was supposed to go back to work on Monday. He called and he said, well, I need you in this county at 7:30. But because of the FMLA, the district director had to approve because I did a multiple county rotation. She had to approve my schedule previously by the Friday before, and then it was set in stone. And he called on Monday morning and said, I need you over here now. And I said, well, number one, you're an hour ahead of me. That ain't going to happen. Number two, I've already sent in my schedule. And number three, that's a no-no right now because I've just come back to work. And I said, what's going on? Well, I need you to prosecute this parole warrant. Well, you've been working for 21 years. Can you not walk across the street and prosecute a parole warrant? And he started cussing me. And I just turned on my recorder and started recording it and just let him go. Let stupid shine. It does wonders for the world. Just let stupid shine. So then I called my district director and I said, we have a problem. I said, I'm following the rules. And then I get this phone call this morning. And she says, oh my God, don't come into work. Don't want you anywhere near that. That's considered a hostile environment. You stay home. We gotta figure what's going on. She said, why in the world would he do that? And I said, I don't know. I said, I've always just done my job. Well, they called me back that evening. And she said, we're going to have a mediation. In 8 to 10 days, we're going to have a mediation. She said, because we need you back to work because I was one of the best officers. And she said, so in 8 to 10 days, she said, we're going to call you and we'll tell you the date, time, and place. And I said, okay. Well, me being smart, I went ahead and hired an attorney because I felt the undertones. So I went ahead and hired an attorney. She said, check in with me every day. And we'll go ahead and as soon as I know, she said, you call me and I'll tell you that day if we've scheduled it. So I checked it. I called every morning at 8:30, 8:35 every morning. For the first 3 days, she took my phone calls and acted ambivalent, but that they were trying to get everything set up. They had to get somebody that could take the transcript and all this other crap. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Just can we hurry because my caseload is suffering while I'm not there. Because I didn't trust the other officers with my parolees. I didn't at all. So on day 4 or 5, they stopped responding to me and answering my phone calls, not responding to my emails. On day 6 and 7, they stopped talking to my lawyer. On day 8, they sent a lady that didn't even work in my district, that was the girl that trained me. And here's what they did. Here's how people play your emotions, people. I'm fixing to teach you something. They sent the girl that trained me, who was the sweetest, most patient, passive, kind, and hardworking woman I'd ever met, good at her job. She had just had a child that had a lot of health problems. He had already had 17 surgeries. He was only like 6 months old. They had lost their home. There's $250,000 of debt into medical stuff. Husband lost his job because of the time off for the baby's sickness. Her world was imploding, and she was trying to work just enough to hold things together. And I felt for her so much. She didn't even work in my district anymore. They had pulled her out somewhere else. They sent her here. She didn't know where I lived, so she had to go to the sheriff's department. A deputy brought her to my house because everybody knows me here. She breached the sanctity of my home. And she knocked on the door and she goes, Elizabeth, are you okay? I'm good. Just kind of stuck at the moment waiting. She goes, well, they swear they don't know where you are. I said, other than feel like being, I'm low jacked. I have a state cell phone and state all this. I mean, I have their state laptop. They find me at any time, you know. But I said, let me show you the emails. And I flipped and showed her the emails. And she goes, oh, God. And I said, yep, they pulled you into this. And she goes, oh, God. And I said, yep. I said, they pulled you into this because they emotionally wanted to hurt me. I said, because now if I go after them, I have to go after you because you're the one that breached the sanctity of home and came after me. And she went, crap. And I said, yep. And I said, it was a checkmate situation. Ticked me off entirely. She left in tears because she thought she was doing a favor trying to find somebody she cared about. They knew that. They knew I cared about her and the situation she was going through emotionally. And so they pitted her against me. So she saw me on day 8. Now, if they send anything from the hub office, it takes 3 days to get to my house because for a long time, that's how long it always took to get here. The next day, I got a termination notice. Do you know what that termination notice said? That I had what was abandoned my caseload. Even though I was told to stay home and wait for a mediation, not to go into the hostile work environment, we had to figure out why he was cussing me out, what the issues were. It took 3 days for that to get to me. So they had mailed it 2 days before she ever showed up, probably 1 to 2 days before she ever showed up. They played it. And so my attorney said, oh, you've got a multi-million-dollar federal lawsuit against the state. He's like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, I'll take your case. And do you know the state called him and said, we'll pay you, 6 times whatever she's paying you, just go away. Because you're up against like 36 lawyers and you're just one. And he was like, I got that on recording. I'm fine with that, And he said, but the thing is, he said, we're going to have to sue them all separately and then sue the whole Department of Corrections. And he said, that means we have to sue that lady. He said, because she did the worst thing. She breached the sanctity of your home. And I said, I don't want to do that to her. She was just following orders and she didn't know what was going on. I said, they played her. She was just blind to what was going on. He said, yes, but if you don't go after her, who did the worst thing, then they'll tell your case apart and say you're picking who you're picking on and you'll lose your case. And I said, I don't know if I can do that. And he said, you got a week. So me and my husband, he was making noise in the kitchen right now, me and my husband talked about it, and we basically looked at each other, and David kind of made it really simple. My husband, he said, do you want to have money or do you want to sleep at night? We decided we wanted to sleep at night. So we don't have a whole lot of money, but I sure have a whole lot of pride in my decision.
Just so you out there understand my facial expressions, I didn't know this. This is the first time.
Yeah, I have a whole lot of pride in the way I handle that situation. Because that was someone trying to manipulate, and I bowed out to not harm another person because I didn't think harming another person and just the trail of harm was going to do anything. And even though the woman called me and she was crying and she said, do it, Elizabeth, go after him. We'll find a way to survive. And I said, I'm not going to do that to you. No, I'm not going to do that to you. So, don't always trust people because you can be the best employee. You're supposed to have 65 to 98 I think a max of 108 felons to supervise if you do felony supervision. I had 547 for 4 months. And when I told them I was fixing to crack, they said, why? Got 547 reasons. Fixing to crack. They didn't care that they violated their own laws, that they violated state code, that they violated the commissioners. They didn't care anything, but they cared very much that I caught one of their managers behaving in such a way that I could have got $2.2 million. But what would I have done with money? I don't need money. Money's not very important to me. I think it's useless. I think it creates more problems than it solves.
Often, yeah.
I don't care for money. So,
Can I close with the Lord's Prayer? Or did you have another question for me?
no. Well, what do you? Because everybody says, your motive. What drives you? What's your motive? And I just wanted to clarify: neither one of us are monetized.
Correct.
Neither one of us asked for anything.
Amen.
Lots of times, if I have a blessing, I pass it along to my subs that need blessings, that need things.
No, I was gonna say I ask for things. I write down your quotes sometimes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
craft with her. This is my favorite YouTuber all time. Amazing.
I do native art a lot, and then I do some weird native art. If it freaks you out, I'm sorry, but I'm native, so.
But she talks while she crafts about all sorts of things,
Yeah.
different stories, commentary of the day. I learned so much, and I'm just crafting along with her.
I'm a female Jerry Clower.
Who's that?
You don't know who Jerry Clower is?
No.
Honey child, oh, you don't know who Jerry Clower is. Oh my, Marcel Ledbetter is rolling over in his grave right now. I'll introduce you. Knock him out, John. Y'all go Google Jerry Clower and knock him out, John. I've actually been in coon hunting scenarios where things like that have happened. Yeah.
So what drives me?
What drives you? Yeah, what drives you? Because it's not money. We're not driven by money. What is your driving force? Because you brought this to other people, so obviously it expands beyond you.
Because I couldn't find anybody who would just straight across. It's biomedical. Okay, what does that mean? Well, spookaboo, boogada boogada, all these different narratives, weirdness. And I'm like, can't you just tell people that's a body part and that they're attached to the cloud since 1995? Like, can't you tell them we run computer networking through the human body so that people can understand how electroceuticals, all this stuff that's going on is actually happening? Nope. We're just going to continue to scare people, lie them into death, literal death.
It affects all of us differently.
And by death, I mean you can't make an appropriate decision given that by the actual organs involved with this body part. The biofield is 80% of the immune system by the mean, median, and mode of what organs of your body are involved with that body part. And then there's 40 to 60% of your endocrine system. That's hormones. Nope, doesn't exist. That body part belongs to information surveillance and reconnaissance. Done. And I haven't shut up since.
Well, and now we're even starting to augment hormones in children that don't even have hormones to augment.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother preaching section.
Oh, man.
I did a live about that. I started talking about the assault ratios around the world and how the U.S. has gone from the 76th most dangerous place to live to the 4th. Wow. How do you think that happened? But I mean, you got to ask these questions. I started talking about that, and then we end up talking about hormones and your chemical profile, and as you age, and how it augments you. If you use drugs at 13, you arrest your brain and your brain's growth. If you stop the cycle of puberty and stuff in your brain at the age it starts, your brain freezes. And you ask yourself, why do we have a bunch of 35-year-olds acting like a 14?
Neoteny, planned, Neoteny, neoteny.
I mean, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, if I didn't want my sheep to get bred, I gave them a shot, and it kept them from going into estrus.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was 19, 20, put myself through college working in big time ritzy horse barns where the horses lived better than I did, ate a lot better too. I was pulling hair follicle and blood and skin samples to send in so we could find out if these horses were heterozygous and would throw certain colors because they were profiling studs and mares.
The chronic wasting disease with the TWR,
Oh, yeah,
whatever it is.
I'll do that. And I thought, if they're doing this with horses, what are the? And this is young me. If they're doing this with horses, as I pluck this horse's hair, and he's looking at me going, "What the crap are you doing to me?" And put it with my little tweezers on this little piece of tape, and with my little gloves, and send it off so they can. I'm sitting there going, if they're doing this with livestock, what are they capable of doing with people? Because you don't waste your time on sheep and cattle first, or you shouldn't, right? You shouldn't, right? Oh, humans should be more important. But then I thought, well, if they're capable of doing this with horses and cattle, what the crap, man, you know? And then and the thing that blew my mind, my husband has brought this home to me, the TWRA,
Tennessee Wildlife
Waffle Resources Agency, have decided that the best way to combat chronic wasting disease, blue tongue, in Tennessee with the deer population, because it spreads so rapidly, is to just reduce the population and kill healthy deer. Excuse me? It's going to spread regardless. Let it spread through the weaker ones, kill the weaker ones. We'll have a stronger herd when it bounces back. Just teach people about the neurological deficiencies, to look for the signs in the deer, because they normally have cancerous tumors, swollen head, mouth. They're almost like an antithesis of a rabid animal. They go to water to die lots of times. And they don't act right. They act like they're stoned out of their mind, and neurological, they'll go in circles a lot or shake their head. That's a neurological issue. But they've decided, no, we need to kill X amount of deer to keep them from getting sick. Why do you care if they get sick if you're just going to kill them anyway? They're going to end up dead either way. I mean, what's the point of that? But that's how they think they're going to stop a virus spreading. Now, does that sound familiar?
Pshaw.
No.
Stick your arm out.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, I had to.
Note the sarcasm there. So, we see this in much simpler terms. We forget to apply it up the ladder, because the same treatments are being applied at different spectrums of society. There are different strata of society. And if they're doing it on one, they're doing it on the other. It's just, it's a different game.
Dual use system. We can log in and heal you. Dual use. Logging in and healing you. What are we doing over here with them fancy street lights? We have to be able to ask questions.
I don't have any fancy street lights here, but I'm assuming they're coming.
But a lot of cities do, and you're not. It's the same problem every time. What?
I'm not in a flight path, but there's been 3 very big aircraft going over for the last 2 weeks, 3 times a day. But I'm not in a flight path at all. Like, who in the crap would fly over this crag? I mean, it's too dangerous. And so I'm just in there going, what? That doesn't make sense. Where are you going to land?
For those of you that didn't get a chance, please check out Dutch Sense on the YouTube today. He had a phenomenal community post.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we said all we needed to say. And I'm just glad y'all are here. And if this obliterates my YouTube channel, I'm completely fine with that.
So far, it says we're still live.
I know they've not kicked my butt yet. They like to pinch me after the fact. So if something happens to me, I will be on. I already have bookmarked pages on Rumble, Odyssey, and Brighteon. Brighteon's already got videos, actually. Same name, and I am notoriously loud, and I will show up and you will find me because you'll hear me. I mean, you probably hear me. If you just turned everything off and sat really quiet on your porch, you would probably hear me. I am the loudest, most obnoxious person. But I'm good. I'm a good person to have on your team.
And any questions that are in the chat for tonight, or I'll take a look at it.
And we'll try to answer.
We'll decide what we want to do, if we want to do another live to actually answer questions. But tomorrow we're having fun because the weather's going to be nice.
We're going to the cattle farm and stealing Daddy's Kubota and going running around the farm.
Yoo-hoo!
So I get to actually go places when I have somebody with me, because my husband doesn't like for me to go anywhere alone, because there are times that I turn into a baked potato and my arms and legs don't work. That's kind of dangerous around here when we have 500-pound black bears. So David's like, you've got somebody to go with you that can watch you. So we're going to go visit. We're going to visit the parents, visit the farm, terrorize the Angus cattle. I'm not going to terrorize them. But they hate hearing that Kubota come if they're not getting fed. And I just like to see the faces of, oh, it's that girl. So we might do some photography. We're going to check out some really old graveyards. I'm going to show her the down the mountain, in the valley, over the river, through the woods, past everything else, and the end of the road where my 70-year-old parents decided they needed to be. And my dad is 70, acts like he's 45. He's a hoot. If you want to see my dad, go back and look at some of my stuff. If you ever see a video with my dad in it, you're going to laugh your butt off. So go look through my
Don't
videos.
forget Pantene.
And oh yes, and I'm going to be sharing. There is the video I have that says when God used Pantene. If you want to see one of my huge success stories from my parole caseload, this is a man that is now a musical ministry. He has done juvenile ministry. He has spoken at youth facilities where kids are in state's custody just because I asked him to. He didn't get paid. He wouldn't even let me give him gas money. He just showed up and did it. He is doing songwriting now about overcoming addiction and overcoming his past life and turning his life over to God. And I still call him Pantene, even though he's cut all his hair off. But he was like 6'4", and they were terrified of him, and he was literally Ferdinand the Bull, sweetest man I ever met. People just expected bad behavior out of him and came up to him abrasively, and he gave it to them. And I said, "You're letting people lead you by the nose. You let other people put you into jail because you didn't have to pay." And he was like, "Dang it, I did, didn't I?" Yep. So he started leading his own life, and he's doing phenomenal. He's in songwriting competitions, doing great. I'm in the music world really kind of hot and heavy. And I sung on the radio. My daddy had a radio program and played the fiddle, but I mean, I literally have no skill. But for some reason, I met Peter Freestone in 2016. We became really good friends, and somehow I ended up knowing a lot of people in the music industry. Somebody that I would ask you to check out and support would be Chris Stringer, which I will share some of his stuff on here. So he's my Pantene. Bless his heart, he's shining. When people that they thought was a chunk of coal shine like a diamond, I'm there for it, and I'm going to boost him. Bless his heart. He is my brother in Christ, and I love him dearly. And then I would check out JJ Lawhorn. He's an independent country singer, and he sings about the old ways, and he is not deterred to be himself. I have questions about other people that I used to like, and mental stability, but we'll let that one go for today. But yeah, I mean, it's
this ought to be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm sitting right next to you now.
Lord,
So we better be quiet.
We
Mom
need,
is the
yeah, I
word.
know. Mom's the word. We need to make sure that we're supporting good, decent people and putting good energy back in the world, because it's the only way that we're going to change the world.
Yes, and tell people it's a body part, and stop making fun of people that can actually feel theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've never felt your own biofield, your own perceptions, etc., then you definitely want to be engaged with people who do, so that you can figure out, hey, how would this work for me?
Yeah.
How does it work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just shutting people down and calling them crazy all the time.
Find people that fill your blind spots. If you can't understand it, find somebody that can, so that you can at least try to understand it. Be curious. Be
Not
careful.
furious.
Yeah, be careful when you're curious.
Mhm.
But
Read.
yes, put wrinkles in your brain. Read everything and look at our nation's news from other nations' perspectives.
Oh, amen. Yes.
It's a doozy. It teaches you a lot. So if I can't be found tomorrow here, then I'll just pop up on Odyssey. I've been trying to want to dual plan that out anyway for a while, but I also think that eventually I probably will pop up on Rumble as well. But you'll find me, because I'm not going away. I don't have the intimidation factor, and the more you pick at me, the more I just stand up and say, "Excuse me, sir." So I'll be back. But thank y'all so much. And don't forget to go and show Joshua Sharrock some love. Joshua Sharrock, SHARROCK.
In your Midwest Magic Cleaning.
Oh, yeah, Midwest Magic Cleaning. He's a man with autism that uses all his YouTube proceeds to go and clean people's houses that do not have the funds or the knowledge to repair their homes. He's made it his life's mission to help. It helps him deal with his autism, and he'll openly talk about it. He gives great neurological explanations. I have a master's in psychology, and sometimes I'm like, dude, you just explain that better than me. And his dry, sarcastic humor cracks me up. I've woke my husband up laughing at him several times. So I love to watch him as I'm going to sleep. But yeah, he will crack you up. So Midwest Magic Cleaning. Good people to support doing good things out in the world. Al Blades is doing great things in the world. Lawn Care Juggernaut, the Boring Channel, he's doing absolutely great things. He comes from the father channel of Cabin on the Hill. People that are out there helping others. and changing the faces of community just by saying hello to people and remembering to, physical interaction is how we're herd animals. We're herd animals. We need to be together.
We do.
When I'm alone for weeks at a time because my husband works many hours, that's when I stay the sickest.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize that because I'm a herd animal.
And I heard from a lot of people that the real reason for this much apart was that right there.
Cuts the energetic connection off.
Yep.
Yep.
On my side of things, one more time, please consider checking out Open Tip Bond's amazing sleeping pods. And we have Plasma Energy Lady on our channel as well with her Plasma Energy Water.
And I'd like to say thank you to her as well because she's been kind to me as well. Yes. Yeah, I appreciate everybody that stuff just shows up in the mail. And I'm like, well, thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So
God bless you, Lynn.
Yep. So we thank you all so much. And this is just, she's a real person.
I exist.
I love her. She's my bestie.
Well, we're gonna sing it. We're gonna do it.
Let me tell you about my best friend. I love that song.
And the one I sent you.
Oh yeah, but I don't know if I can sing that one. my twang don't go that fast. But she's a real person and she is normal.
Me and my hair.
Go back and look at my videos. There's sometimes I got a turby towel on my head doing videos. Y'all, it's just when information strikes you need to share it, you share it. It don't matter what you look like. It matters what you're saying and who you're telling.
The Emperor has no biofield. Everybody got a biofield. Everybody. So we have to talk about it because it's human anatomy and stop making it sound so boogada, boogada. That way we can communicate and actually
learn. And if
bond.
you want to learn about the old ways, and when I say old ways, I mean old ways. My husband's a trapper tanner. He's trying to keep this way of life alive. He's hoping to turn a passion probably into business if he has to become a caretaker for me after a while. But this is his passion. We grew up a hunting family. We ate out of the woods. There's lots of times we never bought meat in the winter from the stores because you live off the land and you know how to clean your own animals. And my Cherokee side, I'm very respectful to those animals because I know what they gave me. And so you'll see me pull their last breath to send it into me to send it on when I'm with my husband and he's snaring and trapping and stuff. I don't get to go with him often, but I go as much as I can. I used to be beside him all the time. Like, I'm a better shot than him. I'll be honest. I'm a much better shot than my husband. And he would say yes. He said it last night at the table, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He admitted it. But we are very respectful to the animals because they help us in so many ways. And it's in my culture, in my Cherokee culture and Cherokee, Chickamauga, and Lenape, it is disrespectful to not use all of the animals. So you'll see me do a lot of native arts. I make ceremonial rattles, ceremonial sticks, and stuff for the tribes, and they purchase them from me. And when I say purchase, I mean for what I have in them.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are my people. And I'm honored to have my stuff used in the ceremonial tribes or the ceremonial events. So I basically say, well, it took me about $25 to make this. So and they're like, okay, here. And they've come back to me now. This will be the 4th year. Yeah. And I do this for 4 different tribes. And I have my Dawes registry halfway done, but I know my lineage because we've all got it graphed out. And in my mom's lineage, it stops because they started pulling women out of the woods and naming them Mary A so they could marry them to Irish settlers and other stuff. So very interesting. Very, Dad's goes all the way back to 1600 Scotland. And Mom's like, and I'm like, well, crap. But I enjoy doing native art. If you're squeamish, I understand. It's a life. If you don't live it, it's hard to understand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand going to Starbucks and asking for this long drink. So I understand that.
In code.
Yeah, I understand. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what venti meant for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why are we ordering a venti what? But, lives are different. And I live in a very old school place where, we still live on lore and logic and common sense and land. So if you all would like to learn about the old ways, my husband does have a channel. It's called Trapper Dave Waters. And he's a man of few words, but he'll show you what he's doing and he'll show you what he's catching and he'll show you how to catch it and he'll show you how to know if you've got healthy land, healthy population, healthy predator-prey ratio balance. And every once in a while you'll see me go along and bug him.
You will learn so much if you know nothing about that way of living, being, and doing a job, you will just be so fascinated. It's tremendous.
It's a whole different life. Now we are respectful and we try not to show the dispatching of the animals. And I mean, we're super respectful because
It's true. No, really.
I mean,
Yeah.
we try to make it as quick and harmless as possible for them, and we walk away and leave them in peace, and we're not, we don't rush them. We know that it's a sacred moment. And my husband is a very quiet, stoic, solid man, and he's very kind. And we get so attached to some of these animals that I name them as they go through the tanning process. And I'm like, well, listen, if Bobo doesn't sell, he's mine and he's going to stay on my wall. And so we get really attached to these, but this is a respect thing. And it's such I know it's a weird way of life, but if you can understand how we do it and the respect we have and what it means to us, it may help you have a conversation with somebody else about it.
Yes.
And because there's a lot of ignorance about it out there right now. And there's a lot of trapping and tanning pages popping up. Why? Because like 90% of the tanning that happened worldwide happened in Ukraine. And all that shut down when all the crap went on. When all the single ladies man decided to make the world a whole havoc. If y'all know that reference, you're laughing right now. All the single ladies. That's all I can see. Now, any man that if you can walk in high heels and pleather, I'm not following you into war.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm sorry.
On my side of things for the channel, if you are confused about anything I just showed you, there's all these people out there, synergists. They are people who spent their time learning with me. They did not show up, donate, and what do you call that? Fangirl or whatever. These are real people who just wanted real answers. Where can I look for that Pentagon directive? What college textbook or textbooks can I look at? Please consider going to the Rumble Dad's channel, Non-Vaxxer 420. He is the only one that has all of my videos there archived.
God, he's got a great sense of timing. He's got a great sense of timing.
And but for me, he has the most recent, up-to-date, or within the last 5-6 years, MIT, Nano.gov, ITU, Professor Achildes, metamaterials. I mean, you'll be there all day. And you'll be able to find things that when you engage in constructive conversation with other people, you are talking about source material. Again, and I can't do it enough with folks so that we understand.
It's not fiction.
This is a college textbook. There is no Harry Potter here. That is a Pentagon directive. You can go to .gov and read about it. When you're trying to have a dialogue with grown adults, not 2-year-olds, this is the kind of stuff that we should be able to do as Americans, and then engender dialogue, ask questions. And that's all we're trying to do.
That's it. Be curious and use your common sense and be kind when you're curious, but also be careful.
Because you are that smart. So find a synergist to ask them questions. They'll be delighted to talk to you about their not-so-fruity drinks, Sosa and Mosa.
I was waiting for that. I almost said that when you brought it up the first time. So that's where we are. Do you want to pray?
Are you ready?
Let's pray.
It's always so funny because you're the pastor's daughter.
I'm the pastor's daughter. She's always praying, but she speaks Latin.
Well, it don't mean nothing. There's the Hebrew and the Greek and the English and all the different poetry the monks wrote.
Sounds prettier when you read it.
This is the Lord's Prayer. That's all I'm going to do. For those of you that ask, what is that? Pater Noster, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses.
As we forgive those who trespass upon us, yes.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Amen. Pater noster, qui es in caeli, sanctificatur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum. Fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie. Et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. Gratias Dei. Thank you, everybody out there. Love.
Go
from
show
Tennessee.
go show somebody some love today.
Amen.
Animal. That's what I look like. Thank you guys for joining in. We love you. And we'll try to do something in the next couple of days to answer any questions. And we'll see you soon. Tomorrow, expect a farm video.
And answers about that colloidal silver.
Yes, and I'm actually going to also show you a RIFE machine.
Oh, because they got that too.
We got that too. I didn't know how like grounded my family was. I just thought we was old school. Apparently, we're neo on the like.
Yeah, you've come up around the curve now.
Yeah,
150 years. You're back on
yeah,
top.
buddy, we're like the smart people now. I'm like, woohoo, buddy. So yeah.
And if you have questions from the Tory community, you're looking for a lady named Unapologetic Christian.
Mhm.
That is who I advocate for. And I do not have accounts anywhere elsewhere other than the Odyssey channel. So if you see anything on the X or the post Twitter, that's a lady named Heather Moon. And she's a real person. She's not me.
And y'all, if I don't show up here tomorrow, I'll be on the Honesty platform too. So appreciate you spending time with us. My dog is like, I'm so glad you're done with that. Look at him, he's leaving.
I see that. He's like,
Oscar says the stream is over. There he goes.
I got that.
Bye guys.
Bye,
We
guys.
appreciate you. Have fun. Go find a friend. Swap energy and make yourself healthy. Oh God, push that X because I hate that they moved it to the other side. Bye guys.
Oh.
Yeah, it's frustrating, ain't it? Then you have to push OK. Bye guys.